my own space station. Greetings, fellow multiversal adventurers. It's an honor to have you back in this saga that has us all hooked. Official channel statement: this story is 100% epic fiction, so please don't attempt real magic. The results aren't guaranteed and insurance won't cover it. The rights to this masterpiece belong entirely to its brilliant original author. We are just a barge sharing it with you. Do you want to keep being part of this amazing community? Join our ninja army of subscribers on YouTube and give this content a like. And for true fans, our Patreon has exclusive ninjutsu waiting for you. Chapter 101: Despair is terrible. Reporting, Commander, my identity is an enforcer, the red-clothed man replied tremulously, completely devoid of his initial arrogance. While Yan Fangfang was asking, Dongfang Chen was also explaining the relevant matters to her through the bone microphone, so she quickly sorted things out. Why did you attack the headquarters? Yan Fangfang continued to ask. This was actually a prearranged plan. It's just that we discovered that your soldiers were wearing strange clothes that were immune to the virus and could easily kill zombies. So, we had to postpone the attack plan, the red-clothed man explained, shivering to have such little courage and still dare to attack the military region headquarters? And almost succeeded? Yan Fangfang was also speechless, feeling that the current deployment of the military region was no longer keeping up with the changing situation. And then? What is your plan? Yan Fangfang continued to ask. The original plan was to mobilize the zombies in Yundu City to attack the headquarters to attract firepower. And we would secretly infiltrate, using this method to capture, he didn't dare to say it, a feint to the east and attack in the west, deceiving the heavens and crossing the sea. Yan Fangfang understood and exclaimed, they had been targeted long ago? You guys are really bold. You even dare to openly attack the commander. Speak. What is your purpose in doing this? Yan Fangfang scolded. I also don't know. We are just following orders. The red-clothed man was very scared and also looked very aggrieved. Alright, then I'll ask you, how did you know the specific location of the headquarters and also understand the internal structure of the military region? Yan Fangfang changed the question. I don't know, I really don't know. The Holy Envoy, yes, the Holy Envoy knows. He told us not to ask too much, just follow him. The man explained nervously. Yan Fangfang became a little impatient seeing that this red-clothed man knew nothing no matter what she asked. I'll ask you one last question. How much do you know about the spirit summoning art? Yan Fangfang asked. These questions were all asked at Dongfang Chen's suggestion. This was her first time encountering the red-clothed church, and she couldn't think of so many questions. I've only heard of the spirit summoning art, but I've never seen it. I only know that the Holy Envoy can use the spirit summoning art to control zombies. The man replied, so, the zombies outside were attracted by that damn Holy Envoy controlling the Tier 3 zombie. Yan Fangfang asked herself. The Tier 3 zombies outside couldn't have come to attack the headquarters for no reason. It must be that Holy Envoy pulling strings behind the scenes. Yes, the man replied. Yan Fangfang nodded. Commander, you said just now that you could cure me, is that true? The red-clothed man asked tentatively. You're really thinking too much? You killed so many people, and you still want to live. Yan Fangfang was processing the information just now, and she was amused by these words. Commander, it really wasn't my fault. I was just following orders. By the way, Commander, I can defect to you. You must save me. The man knelt on the ground and begged, drag him out and execute him. This kind of person can stir up trouble. It's really speechless. Yan Fangfang ordered. Yes, spare me. Spare me, Commander, the man cried out. But no one paid any attention to him. Several members of this Hanfang commando team dragged the man away. As for that Holy Envoy, Dongfang Chen said that he would be here soon, and they would interrogate him when he arrived. Yan Fangfang had people carry Yan Xiangping to the bed in the inner room of the office to take good care of him and wait for Dongfang Chen to come and treat him to avoid being noticed. Tong Li had quietly left. It was already past 4 in the morning. As if sensitive to time or light, the zombies stopped attacking and retreated towards Yundu City. The second line of defense had not been breached, and the soldiers breathed a sigh of relief. The military's directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment, protected by combat suits, chased after them, constantly killing the zombies in the rear, and the other divisions began to assemble and take stock. The final statistics showed that over 1,200 people were injured and over 1,500 people were killed, which can be described as heavy casualties for the injured soldiers. The division commanders of each division could only helplessly quarantine them. First, in the past, They would only engage in some small-scale local battles with zombies under duress, with a maximum of 10 or 8 injuries at a time. Because there were no effective treatment drugs, they could only watch these soldiers slowly zombify and then be killed. This had happened countless times, but this time was different. There were too many injured people. More than 1,000 people. Thinking that they could only watch these comrades zombify and then be killed, everyone's emotions fell to the bottom. They didn't die at the hands of zombies, but they were going to die from the virus. Most of them were only slightly injured. Why? Why couldn't they live? Looking at the comrades who were gradually moving away and heading towards the quarantine area, everyone's eyes turned red. Some soldiers with low tear ducts were already in tears. Everyone, attention! An officer shouted loudly. Everyone stood at attention. Salute! The officer shouted the order in a hoarse voice. Swish! The tens of thousands of soldiers on the scene looked at their comrades who were entering the quarantine area and stood at attention and saluted in unison. The more than 1,200 soldiers standing in the quarantine area turned their heads and saw the scene. They understood what this military salute meant, and they also understood what awaited them next. They turned around one after another, smiling through their tears. Then they stood at attention and returned the salute one after another. Comrades, continue to fight. Death is not scary, despair is. This was their wish, and it was also their heartfelt voice. Chapter 102 Treatment Methods. The night passed, and dawn arrived. The first ray of sunlight pierced the horizon, spreading across the land. The soldiers from the directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment who had been in pursuit returned to the military headquarters one after another. After a brief rest, they began to clean up the zombies outside the military area. They had combat suits and were not afraid of infection. This task could only be done by them, of course. It wasn't for nothing. The crystal cores on the zombies were their spoils of war. Before long, Dongfang Chen arrived by plane. Yan Fangfang didn't delay and took Dongfang Chen directly to Yan Xiangping's office. Dongfang Chen gave Yan Xiangping a central control capsule and then injected him with a nutrient solution containing 2 million nanobots. Soon, Yan Xiangping woke up. Breaking down the hallucinogen consumed a lot of the body's energy, and he was still very weak. Dad, you're awake. Yan Fangfang's worried heart finally relaxed. Yan Xiangping turned his head to look around, noticing many high-ranking officers from the military region, as well as Yan Fangfang and Dongfang Chen. Have the zombies been eliminated? Yan Xiangping asked. They have been eliminated, Yan Fangfang replied. What about the people from the Red Robe cult? Yan Xiangping frowned and continued to ask. Except for that damned Saint envoy who was captured, everyone else was killed. Yan Fangfang replied. Yan Xiangping nodded and closed his eyes in relief. All right, let him get some rest. He'll be fine tomorrow, Dongfang Chen said. Boss, thank you. Yan Fangfang shed tears uncontrollably. Others might not know, but she was clear in her heart. If it weren't for Dongfang Chen's secret assistance, the Southwest military region would probably have been captured by the Red Robe cult by now. So, she was not only grateful to Dongfang Chen for saving her father, but also for saving the entire Southwest military region. All right. Don't give me that. I get a headache when I see women crying. Take me to see that Saint Envoy, Dongfang Chen said. Oh. Okay. Yan Fangfang was immediately amused, hurriedly wiped the tears from her face with her sleeve, and stepped out the door. Dongfang Chen shook his head behind her. What's wrong with them? Walking on the way to the detention area, Dongfang pointed to the soldiers coming and going, looking dejected, and asked, logically speaking, they should be high-spirited after just winning a battle. Yan Fangfang stopped and looked around. Suddenly, she thought of something and said, during last night's defensive battle, many soldiers sacrificed themselves, and some were injured. Yan Fangfang's eyes also dimmed. So that's how it is. Dongfang Chen understood after a little thought. That's right. Boss. Do you have a way to save them? Yan Fangfang suddenly thought that perhaps Dongfang Chen could come up with a solution. Her eyes lit up, and she looked at him expectantly. I'll make a call. Dongfang Chen frowned, then took out his satellite phone and walked aside. Yan Fangfang didn't step forward and stood there quietly waiting. Xiaolin, let me ask you, is there a way to treat people who have already been infected with a virus? Commander, there is, Xiaolin replied. That's great. What's the method? Targeted drugs combined with antigen serum, Xiaolin replied. What are targeted drugs? Dongfang Chen asked. It is also an injection that can directionally repair infected cells after injection. However, the repaired cells may still face secondary infection. Therefore, infected individuals must inject antigen serum as soon as possible during the effective period of the targeted drug. What is the effective time? Dongfang Chen continued to ask. Within 1 hour after the injection of the targeted drug, the drug's effect is not fully exerted, and after 24 hours, the drug is completely broken down, and the effect disappears. Therefore, the effective time of the targeted drug is between 1 hour and 24 hours after injection. The best injection time for antigen serum is within 2 to 18 hours after the targeted drug is administered. Another thing to note is that infected individuals who have been treated with targeted drugs, although they have produced antibodies in their bodies and are immune to the virus, cannot cause cell mutations and cannot become mutants. Dongfang Chen wanted to save people now, and whether they could become mutants was not important. Wait, what you just meant was that there is still a way to treat zombies after they have zombified? Dongfang Chen heard a key point. Yes, but it is very difficult, and current conditions cannot achieve it. Xiaolin replied, tell me first. What method can be used to treat them? Dongfang Chen asked anxiously. Cell regeneration combined with gene repair. Xiaolin replied, gene repair. But haven't zombies already completely zombified? Where can we find uninfected genes? Dongfang Chen asked. That's right. There is. As soon as he asked, Dongfang Chen also understood. Hair, there is. The genes in human hair are not contaminated by the virus, Xiaolin replied, so that's how it is. Dongfang Chen only roughly understood the principle, but in reality, the cost, difficulty, and requirements for the environment and technology to operate it are extremely high. Chapter 103, Fully Producing Targeted Drugs. Okay. I need a large number of targeted drugs and antigens now. If we temporarily stop non-essential work at the base and focus on producing these two drugs, how long will it take to produce them? Dongfang Chen asked. If there are enough crystal cores, we can produce about 1,000 units per day, Xiaolin replied. Good, I understand. Order the queen bee to start production first, and I will bring back another batch of crystal cores later, Dongfang Chen ordered. Yes, Commander. Dongfang Chen hung up the phone and walked back. How is it? Yan Fangfang asked anxiously. It can be treated, Dongfang Chen said. Really? That's great. Yan Fangfang was overjoyed. Don't be happy too soon. Let me ask you, how many people need treatment? Dongfang Chen asked. If there were too many people, some who are turning into zombies faster might not be able to wait for the medicine to be produced before they completely zombified. According to the data collected at dawn, there are a total of 1,232 people, Yan Fangfang said. More than 1,000 people, that's okay, it should be in time. Dongfang Chen roughly calculated that more than 1,000 units of medicine and antigen each, adding up to nearly 3,000 units. It would take nearly 3 days to produce them all. Really? That's great. Yan Fangfang couldn't care less about her image and was about to give him a big hug. Stop. Dongfang Chen quickly stopped her, not wanting to be taken advantage of for nothing. Yan Fangfang reacted, embarrassed, and quickly apologized. Let's go. Take me to see that holy envoy first, Dongfang Chen said. Okay. Yan Fangfang quickly stepped forward to lead the way. The holy envoy, missing his limbs, was already unconscious and thrown on the floor. Wake him up, Yan Fangfang ordered. Yes. A soldier on duty hurriedly took a bucket of cold water and splashed it directly on him. Ah! Let me go. Let me go. You ignorant people, do you know the consequences of offending the Crimson Church? The holy envoy, awakened by the water, shouted and began to curse. Drag him up and let him sit against the wall. Dongfang Chen said. The soldier glanced at Yan Fangfang, asking for her opinion. Carry out the order, Yan Fangfang ordered. Yes. Two soldiers stepped forward, one on the left and one on the right, and helped him sit up against the wall. Having changed to comfortable posture, the holy envoy took a deep breath. How is it? Are you afraid? If you know what's good for you, quickly release me. Otherwise, disaster will befall you. The holy envoy continued to threaten. Dongfang Chen ignored him and walked to the stool to sit down. What's your name? Dongfang Chen asked casually. Name? I don't have a name. Everyone calls me holy envoy. You can call me that too, the holy envoy said mockingly. Stubborn. Are you still hoping someone will come to save you? Dongfang Chen said. Yes. The holy envoy glared at him and said, I think your subordinates are more enlightened than you. They took the initiative to confess everything they knew without suffering at all. Dongfang Chen said. HMPH. Cowardly things who are afraid of death, the holy envoy cursed. So they lived, but you won't, Dongfang Chen pointed out. Trying to trick me? Let me tell you, it's useless. The holy envoy didn't fall for it. Whether you believe it or not, I don't care at all. But I believe that after he goes back, He will soon be able to take your place. Dongfang Chen continued to say as if stating a fact. Him? You're thinking too much? Just an enforcer, still dreaming of taking the position of Holy Envoy? Ridiculous, the Holy Envoy said disdainfully. Could it be that the Holy Envoy is not chosen from the people below? He thought Dongfang Chen could tell from the Holy Envoy's eyes that perhaps the position of Holy Envoy was really not selected from the people below. That's not necessarily true. What if he can bring back the medicine to treat you? Dongfang Chen continued to say calmly, but the real purpose was to probe, HMPH. That's still impossible. The Holy Envoy was still disdainful. It seemed that the Holy Envoy was really not selected. I'm very curious, what kind of bewitching soup did the Crimson Church pour into you that makes you so loyal? Dongfang Chen changed his line of questioning. HMPH. You can't explain ice to a summer insect, the Holy Envoy despied. Alice. I originally wanted to give you a chance, but it's a pity that you don't appreciate it at all. In that case, then I can only say sorry. Dongfang Chen sighed and stood up, then took out a syringe from his pocket. What is that? The Holy Envoy was a little nervous. Don't be nervous, this is a good thing. With just one injection, it can make you feel like you're floating in paradise, as if you're in a fairyland, Dongfang Chen said, holding the syringe in his left hand, describing the refreshing scene with fascination. The unknown is the most terrifying. Although Dongfang Chen was smiling, this complacent expression was extremely terrifying in the eyes of the Holy Envoy. He felt that the person standing opposite him was a cold-blooded butcher, and he was the lamb to be slaughtered. No, no, the Holy Envoy shook his head vigorously and shouted, that's not good. I really appreciate your loyalty and integrity. You can't let me down. Dongfang Chen smiled shamelessly. No. No. I'll talk. The Holy Envoy still shook his head, changing his words in a panic. Tisk tisk tisk. It seems that you are just cheap. You don't appreciate kind words. You have to suffer before you cooperate. Tell me, are you cheap? Dongfang Chen despised this was attacking his inner defense line. You? The Holy Envoy was a little angry. Dongfang Chen glared. Yes. I'm cheap. I'm just cheap. The Holy Envoy nodded hurriedly in agreement. Dongfang Chen and Yang Fangfang exchanged a glance, revealing an expression of that's all there is to it, so that's it. Alice. I'm just too soft-hearted, I can't bear to see other people looking pitiful. Then I'll give you one more chance to speak, but you only have this one chance. If you don't cooperate well, then I can only use my own methods. Dongfang Chen pretended to be soft-hearted, but anyone could tell that this appearance was deliberately acted out. I'll cooperate. The Holy Envoy stared with wide eyes, nodding frequently, with a look of tail-wagging pleading. Chapter 104 The Secret of Necromancer. Let's talk about the spirit summoning art first, Dongfang Chen said after a moment of thought. According to the Holy Sun, the spirit summoning art is a very ancient secret art, originating from a mysterious scripture within the Church, the Myriad Laws scripture. Legend has it that the spirit summoning art can revive the dead, but no one has ever been known to succeed. When the virus first broke out, a Holy Envoy accidentally discovered that the spirit summoning art could be used on zombies and establish a mental connection with them after it was cast. This discovery quickly gained the attention of the higher-ups, and soon the spirit summoning art was listed as one of the Church's top secrets. Unbaptized believers are not allowed to practice it. What is the Holy Sun's position in the red-clad sect? Dongfang Chen asked. The Holy Sun is the highest administrator, the Holy Envoy replied. That's not right. Dongfang Chen didn't believe it. I only vaguely suspect that there may be higher-level administrators above the Holy Sun. However, I have never seen or heard of them, and I don't even know what their position is, the Holy Envoy replied. Alright, let's go back to the previous question. What is this myriad laws scripture you mentioned earlier? Dongfang Chen asked. I heard it from the Holy Sun. There are 5 scriptures passed down within the Church, and the myriad laws scripture is the most mysterious. However, I have never seen it. What are the other 4? Dongfang Chen frowned and asked. I really don't know. The Holy Sun has never mentioned them. Tell me about the process of casting the spirit summoning art. The more detailed the better, Dongfang Chen said. Only baptized members of the Church can cast the spirit summoning art, others cannot, the Holy Envoy said. You're thinking too much? Did I say I wanted to cast it? I have no interest in your heretical practices, Dongfang Chen said with disdain. Yes. To cast the spirit summoning art, one must first be baptized by the Church. In fact, Besides a series of sacrificial rituals, the most crucial part of the baptism is drinking the holy water. I don't know the exact composition of the holy water, but after drinking it, one will not be actively attacked by zombies. Secondly, the target of the spirit summoning art must be at least a tier 2 zombie. This is because, during the summoning, the zombie needs to consume a large amount of life energy, which needs to be provided by other zombies. If it's a tier 1 zombie, it won't be able to gather more zombies and obtain enough life energy. What is life energy? How can zombies have life force? Dongfang Chen asked. I don't quite understand that. I only know that zombies that have their life energy absorbed will die, a true death. The holy envoy shook his head. Previously, the mercenary team had discovered many dead zombies in the abandoned factory, and they no longer had crystal cores. Combining this with the holy envoy's description today, he deduced that life energy might refer to crystal cores. Okay, continue, Dongfang Chen said. Next is setting up the altar. The altar must be at least 3 meters high and no more than 5 meters high. The area of the platform on top must be large enough for at least 2 people to stand on, because when the spirit summoning art begins, the caster and the tier 2 zombie being summoned must stand on the platform at the same time. Why would a tier 2 zombie listen to you and stand on such a high platform? Dongfang Chen didn't understand. It needs. The holy envoy was a little nervous and didn't dare to speak. Needs what? Dongfang Chen asked. It needs living people as bait, the holy envoy said in a low voice. You're worse than animals, Dongfang Chen said through gritted teeth. Yan Fangfang, who was beside him, was also very angry when she heard this. You're truly insane and deserve to die, Yan Fangfang said fiercely. Continue, Dongfang Chen said immediately. The holy envoy described the process of casting the spirit summoning art in detail. After listening to his description, Dongfang Chen understood that the so-called spirit summoning art was not mysterious at all. The key is that the tier 2 zombie advances to tier 3 after absorbing a large amount of energy from tier 1 zombies. Because tier 3 zombies begin to develop basic intelligence, their biological instinct makes them believe that the first person they see created them, thus recognizing that person as their master. It's essentially imprinting behavior. It's the same principle as a newly hatched duckling regarding the first animal it sees as its mother as for being able to revive the dead. Don't be ridiculous just chanting a few spells that no one knows the meaning of can revive the dead. That's completely unscientific. Having understood the key points, Dongfang Chen lost interest in the so-called spirit summoning art. Why did you attack the southwest military region? Dongfang Chen changed the subject. The enforcer didn't answer this question last night, only knowing that it was a pre-planned scheme. The initial plan was to capture the high-ranking officials of the military region and thus control the entire southwest military region. But before we could execute the plan, we discovered a group of soldiers in strange equipment in the army. They could actually move unharmed among the zombies, which forced us to abandon our original plan. Dongfang Chen and Yan Fangfang exchanged glances, understanding what he was talking about. So you decided to cultivate tier 3 zombies first and then use them to fight against the army? Yes, the holy envoy admitted. Chapter 105, The Red Cult's Internal Support. Have you ever considered that, by doing this, the entire Red Robe sect will face the full force of the Chinese army's blockade and suppression? Dongfang Chen asked. I was also worried about going against the army before. The risk is too great. But the Holy Sun said it wouldn't happen. What's the reason? Dongfang Chen didn't understand. I'm not very clear either, the holy envoy replied. In fact, this is related to the 2055 ARC project passed by the council in order to build the Mosin ARC base. 90% of the central military region's forces have already been transferred to the uninhabited area of the Mosin Gobi in western Xinjiang. At the same time, the southwest military region, northwest military region, and northeast military region have each transferred 2 divisions, totaling 60,000 people. As a result, the forces responsible for maintaining security and peacekeeping in each military region are very insufficient. In addition, the casualties of soldiers are very high, and the handling of injuries is too inhumane. So each military region basically adopts a strategy of preserving strength as much as possible, avoiding war if possible, and the commanders of each military region are members of the council. After the 2055 Human Survival White Paper was issued, they knew that the resettlement sites had been abandoned in name, and they could only seek their own survival, so they were even more reluctant to let soldiers take risks. Then even if you control the entire southwest military region, what can you do? What's the plan after that? Dongfang Chen asked. I think it's very likely that they want to use this as the Red Robe sect's headquarters, the Holy Envoy replied. You're guessing? Dongfang Chen asked. Yes. The Holy Son hasn't explicitly said it, but I can hear it in his words, that he has intentions in this regard, the Holy Envoy replied. How many Holy Sons are there in your sect? Dongfang Chen suspected that such a large plan could not be handled by just a few people. I don't know about that. I haven't seen other Holy Sons, and I've never heard the Holy Son mention them, the Holy Envoy replied. You said at the beginning that enforcers can't be promoted to Holy Envoys. What did you mean? How did you get the position of Holy Envoy? Seeing that he couldn't get anything out of him, Dongfang Chen changed the subject. To become a Holy Envoy, you must undergo the baptism ceremony within the sect, but enforcers and divine envoys cannot accept baptism, the Holy Envoy explained. Why? Dongfang Chen asked. Because they have actually been infected. Accepting baptism requires drinking holy water. The Holy Son said that if they drink the holy water, the virus will be out of control and they will eventually become zombies, the Holy Envoy explained. So, only healthy people can drink the holy water you mentioned, Dongfang Chen asked. That's right. Besides allowing you to avoid being attacked by zombies, what other effects does the holy water have? Dongfang Chen asked after a moment of thought. As far as I know, it doesn't seem to have any other effects. Dongfang Chen was a little curious about this holy water and wanted to get his hands on it if he had the chance. Can it make you immune to the virus, or become a mutant? Dongfang Chen asked. That's not possible. The Holy Envoy said very definitely. Then what's the method you mentioned before that can prevent you from being infected by the virus? Yan Fangfang interjected when he first broke into the headquarters. He said something like that, but Dongfang Chen didn't hear it. It's the medicine we take. After taking it, you won't be infected by the virus, and you'll have certain abilities, the Holy Envoy replied. Do you have any on you? Dongfang Chen asked. Yes, the Holy Envoy replied. Dongfang Chen found a medicine bottle from his pocket, opened it and looked at it. There was still a lot left. He planned to go back and analyze it to see what the ingredients were. Where did you get this medicine? Dongfang Chen put away the medicine bottle and continued to ask. The Holy Son bestowed it. Then how did your Holy Son obtain it? I don't know about that. One last question. Why were you able to find the specific location of the headquarters directly? Dongfang Chen asked. Because there was an inside informant, the Holy Envoy replied. Impossible. Yan Fangfang interrupted directly. It's impossible for people from the military to collude with you. Yan Fangfang didn't believe this at all. The army is different from other places. Which of the people who joined the army hasn't been carefully vetted? Besides, after the virus outbreak, the entire military was sealed off, and soldiers were not allowed to go home to visit relatives. In this situation, it's impossible for the Red Robe sect's forces to infiltrate the military region. It's indeed not someone from the army, the Holy Envoy admitted. Then who is it? Yan Fangfang asked curiously. Do you know that you captured a group of bandits more than 2 months ago? The Holy Envoy asked. Could it be them? Yan Fangfang certainly knew, because she personally led the people to arrest them. No, the Holy Envoy shook his head. Are you playing with me? Yan Fangfang was angry. It's the person who reported the news. The Holy Envoy gave the answer. That woman with the child? Yan Fangfang was surprised. Yes, the Holy Envoy nodded. You guys, go and control that woman in the military camp. Don't let her run away. Yan Fangfang reacted and quickly ordered. Yes, the soldiers guarding the door obeyed and left. What's going on? Dongfang Chen asked. Chapter 106 Visiting the Wounded Soldiers. It was like this. Around mid-December, a woman came to the military region with a child, shouting at the gate. I was leading Rongpo's Hanfang assault team, ready to leave for a zombie hunt, and we met her at the gate. From that woman, we learned that a group of bandits were ambushing the village where she lived. She knelt on the ground, begging us to save them, and I agreed without much thought. So, we drove with his Hanfang assault team at full speed to the scene. Sure enough, there was a group of thugs ransacking things, but unfortunately, everyone in the village had already been killed. We detained all the bandits, along with this homeless woman, and brought them back to the military camp. Yan Fangfang explained the events of that day in detail. So that's how it was. Dongfang Chen understood. It was a death trap. Such vicious intentions. Yan Fangfang was furious. They actually used her sympathy to set up such a big scheme, and her momentary kindness had brought such a disaster to the military and sacrificed so many soldiers. Yan Fangfang wanted to cry but had no tears, filled with regret. I told you before, Put away your naive sympathy, or it will kill many people. Now you understand, right? Dongfang Chen sighed, patted her shoulder, and said. Yan Fangfang closed her eyes, speechless for a long time. Do you have anything else to confess? Dongfang Chen turned to look at the holy envoy. I want to know, do you really have a way to solve our physical problems? The holy envoy asked. Not sure, but we can try. Dongfang Chen replied. The holy envoy nodded, took a deep breath, and closed his eyes. He could be free. As long as he didn't have to suffer any more, he would be satisfied. I'll leave it to you. Dongfang Chen patted Yan Fangfang's shoulder and turned to leave the detention room. Yan Fangfang opened her eyes. As if she had made a decision, she strode forward, walked up to the holy envoy, and snapped his neck. After coming out of the detention room, Dongfang Chen, accompanied by Yan Fangfang, went to the quarantine area again. The soldiers had already treated their wounds with the help of medical staff. Some were quietly lying on the bed reading, others were chatting and laughing in groups of 3 or 5, and some with minor injuries were even playing ball outside. Walking through the quarantine area, there was no sign of gloom. Seeing Yan Fangfang coming, everyone stood up and saluted. Yan Fangfang returned the salute one by one. Call everyone to assemble. Yan Fangfang instructed a soldier beside her. Yes, the soldier obeyed and left with a series of whistles. The soldiers quickly ran towards Yan Fangfang. Then they lined up. Attention, at ease. After everyone lined up, Yan Fangfang said, Comrades, you are all great. On you, I see the hope of defeating the virus. I called everyone here not to say flattering words, but to tell you good news. Yan Fangfang shouted loudly, tears of joy welling up in her eyes. The soldiers looked at each other, wondering what the good news was. We have found a way to treat the virus. Everyone is saved. Yan Fangfang shouted. The soldiers' eyes lit up when they heard the news. Instructor Yan, is it true? A soldier shouted loudly. They were afraid of disappointment. If it was just to make everyone happy, it would be better to wait quietly for death. Of course it's true. This Mr. Dongfang Chen next to me is the person who provided us with combat suits before. And this time, he brought medicine to treat the virus. Yan Fangfang introduced. Clap clap clap. The soldiers applauded warmly, welcoming Dongfang Chen's arrival. Yan Fangfang pressed her hands down, signaling everyone to stop. Then, let Mr. Dongfang Chen say a few words to everyone. Yan Fangfang said. Yan Fangfang stepped aside, giving the main position to Dongfang Chen. Dongfang Chen was not stage frightened and walked to the center. Hello everyone. I came to see you today to reassure you. Facing this crisis, the fearless spirit of sacrifice you have shown deeply impresses me. As Instructor Yan said, on you, I see the hope of defeating the virus. I solemnly promise here that within 3 days at most, everyone will be treated one after another and regain their health. And after the treatment, you will not be infected with the virus again. Dongfang Chen paused and continued, however, before that, I want to make a small request. No one spoke, continuing to listen quietly, because the production of the medicine takes time. We can only treat about 1/3 of the patients each day. So I hope everyone can understand and let those with severe infections be treated first, and those with rapid onset be given priority. The first batch of medicine will arrive here at the latest tonight. I hope our medical staff can conduct a thorough investigation as soon as possible and compile a list in order. After visiting the wounded soldiers, the two came to the square in front of the military district gate. At this time, in the square, the soldiers of the directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment were gathering the spoils of war, crystal cores. Chapter 107. Yan Zhangping, S-Plan. Looking around, the crystal nuclei piled up like a small mountain, emitting a radiant glow. How is the cleanup going? Yan Fangfang asked a soldier next to her who was moving crystal nuclei, reporting. Instructor Yan, it will still take some time, the soldier replied, standing at attention. Okay. After the crystal nuclei are collected, gather the corpses together, pour gasoline on them, and burn them all. No burying allowed, Yan Fangfang ordered, but the soldier hesitated. Gasoline was a precious commodity now. Execute the order. Yan Fangfang didn't explain. Yes, the biggest cause of the ecological crisis was the viruses carried by the corpses of the dead zombies, which contaminated the microorganisms. Although doing this wouldn't change the ultimate outcome of microbial mutation, doing a little was better than nothing. From the soldier's report, the number of crystal nuclei obtained this time was roughly 180,000. This was a considerable number, but for Dongfang Chen, it wasn't enough. If all the wounded soldiers were to be treated, both targeted drugs and antigens would each require more than 1,200 doses. At a price of 200 crystal nuclei per dose, the total cost would be nearly 500,000 crystal nuclei. Sister Yan, the quantity isn't enough, Dongfang Chen said. Huh? Yan Fangfang didn't understand Dongfang Chen's meaning. I roughly calculated that the medicine requires a total of more than 2,400 doses, costing nearly 500,000 crystal nuclei in total. Currently, you only have less than 200,000, which is quite a bit short, Dongfang Chen explained. You still want to charge money? Yan Fangfang glared at him. Wow. What are you doing? Planning to rob me? Let me tell you, one thing is one thing. I can save people, but I can't pay for it out of my own pocket. Dongfang Chen glared back. Why are you so greedy? Yan Fangfang was frustrated. You can't say it like that. This doesn't even include the cost of treating your dad. That injection isn't cheap. It'll cost at least 10,000 crystal nuclei. Besides, if I don't have a crystal nuclei, the base can't operate. When you need help again, I won't have the ability, Dongfang Chen said with a slight threat. Then what should we do? You promised to cure everyone within 3 days. You can't go back on your word, Yan Fangfang said. Of course not. I didn't say I wouldn't treat people. I can give you the medicine on credit first, but you have to make up the crystal nuclei later. Dongfang Chen looked like a landlord demanding rent. You? Alright. Yan Fangfang was speechless and could only agree. That's right. I'll treat your dad's injection as a good deed and give it to you for free. But after these crystal nuclei are counted, move them onto my plane as soon as possible. The base is waiting for these crystal nuclei to produce medicine, Dongfang Chen added. Okay. Yan Fangfang was too lazy to look at him and shouted loudly, report. While the two were talking, a soldier ran over to report. Speak. Yan Fangfang responded. Instructor Yan, that woman is dead. The soldier replied. Dead? How did she die? Yan Fangfang was surprised originally. She wanted to ask that woman why she did this. Why did she help those cultists to frame the soldiers who were protecting them? But she didn't expect that the woman would die first. She probably took poison. The soldier replied. What about the child? Yan Fangfang continued to ask. Also dead. Yan Fangfang was stunned. What a ruthless person. Ruthless to others. And even more ruthless to herself and her child. How long has she been dead? Yan Fangfang asked. The body is cold. Probably died in the middle of the night. The soldier replied. It seemed that she knew the news had leaked, and the consequences of her not dying would be even more serious. Okay, I understand. You arrange for a few people to find a place to bury them, Yan Fangfang ordered. Yes, the soldier took the order and left. After everything was done and the crystal nuclei were loaded onto the plane, Dongfang Chen hurriedly returned to the base. Yan Xiangping didn't wake up until evening. After a day of rest, his physical strength had basically recovered afterwards. Yan Fangfang recounted to Yan Xiangping what had happened after he fell unconscious last night and the results of the interrogation during the day. After learning the cause and effect of the matter, Yan Xiangping was extremely angry. When he heard that Dongfang Chen could actually produce medicine to treat the infected, he was overjoyed. However, when he heard that Dongfang Chen wanted to charge crystal nuclei, he smiled wryly and shook his head. But he didn't mind. He didn't approve of killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. If people were scared or used to death once, it would be detrimental to both parties later. These crystal nuclei must be given. Not only must they be given, but they must be gathered as soon as possible. You should also inform this Hanfeng Commando and the directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment to speed up the collection of crystal nuclei. I believe that as long as we continue to provide him with crystal nuclei, he will definitely bring us more surprises, Yan Xiangping instructed. Yes, Yan Fangfang accepted the order. Oh, right. Fangfang, also, give Zhongzhenyu of the Southeast Military Region a slightly larger quantity. This way, we can acquire crystal nuclei faster. In the next few days, I will also take this Hanfeng Commando to the Northeast Military Region and the Northwest Military Region. I think we will gain a lot. Yan Xiangping was preparing to help Dongfang Chen advertise. You should know that the combat suits sold to Zhongzhenyu were priced at 160 crystal nuclei each, with a huge profit margin. How could he not take advantage of such a good resource? Relying solely on his own soldiers to go out and hunt zombies would only earn him a small fee. Mobilizing everyone to hunt zombies together was a win-win situation. This was a beneficial thing for everyone, so why not do it? Chapter 108. The Second Generation Queen Bee. After Yan Fangfang left, Yan Xiangping called the speaker again and reported the events in the Southwest Military Region. He emphasized several points. 1. The existence of the Red Robe sect. 2. The existence of high-level zombies. 3. The Red Robe sect can control high-level zombies. 4. The importance of mutants in future wars. However, Yan Zhangping chose not to disclose the existence of Dongfang Chen, the combat suit, and Dongfang Chen's ability to treat infected individuals because he was uncertain about everyone's attitude after learning about Dongfang Chen's existence. However, it would likely lead to attempts to win him over, compete for him, or even do something foolish like killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. Dongfang Chen was not someone who responded well to pressure, so the final outcome would definitely not be good. The current situation was much better, and this situation was deliberately created by Dongfang Chen. From the moment he personally destroyed the base wall, he understood that a man is innocent, but he is guilty of possessing treasure. To unite forces from different regions and with different standpoints to jointly respond to the ecological crisis, he could not stand in opposition to everyone. With Xiaolin's refinement and assistance, the Firefly project involved everyone, yet no one felt they had stepped into the plan. After the report, the speaker decided to organize a temporary meeting of parliamentarians. Therefore, the task of treating the wounded was entrusted to Yan Fangfang, who was fully responsible. Yan Zhangping took a plane and rushed to Kyoto overnight. After Dongfang Chen returned to the base with 180,000 crystal nuclei, he began a series of adjustments to the base. Producing the antidote actually used less than 10,000 crystal nuclei. Approximately 2 crystal nuclei's energy could produce 1 dose of the antidote. In addition, with the crystal nuclei that the Southwest military region had continuously sent over to purchase combat suits, his current crystal nucleus inventory had reached 400,000. And it was time to carry out the next step of the plan. Xiaolin, has the second-generation Queen Bee finished production? Commander, the second-generation Queen Bee will be assembled in 3 hours. Okay, after the Queen Bee is assembled, transfer all the bee ant robots on the production line to fully produce antidote. Yes, Commander. Dongfang Chen stood in front of the glass wall of the production warehouse, looking at the enormous second-generation Queen Bee, his heart surging. This was the real Queen Bee. Compared to the first-generation spider-sized Queen Bee, it could do so much more. First of all, the control range was different. The number of bee ant robots that the first-generation Queen Bee could control was limited, and it was not enough to meet the various production needs within the base, so it could not be expected to do more. However, after the second-generation Queen Bee was put into use, it was different. It could cover the entire Binjiang urban area with its tentacles. In this way, the zombies in Binjiang City will be completely cleared. At the same time, with the protection of bee ant robots, the entire Binjiang City will become a restricted area for all enemies, including zombies. Although it is still impossible to protect the airspace, it is enough for now. At the same time, the base's production warehouse can be expanded on a large scale. His initial plan was to use the scope of Binjiang City as the boundary to spread the base horizontally underground. At a little after 1 o'clock in the morning, Dongfang Chen ordered Xiaolin to transport 400 doses of targeted medicine and antigen produced that day to the Southwest military region by plane. At the same time, after receiving the news, Yan Fangfang had ordered people to wait at the airport in advance. Dongfang Chen's plane did not need a driver, so he did not need to follow. Medical staff had screened out the most severely ill soldiers and numbered them according to the severity of their condition. Dongfang Chen had told Yan Fangfang the method of injecting the antidote, and he believed that she could do this well. At 5:20 in the morning, the antidote arrived in the isolation area under the of soldiers. The 400 infected soldiers who were called by number were already sitting on the playground waiting, and everyone lined up according to the previously assigned numbers. 800 soldiers were also acting as security guards in the distance to prevent anyone from suddenly zombifying and hurting others. A row of long tables was placed in a corner of the playground, and 20 medical personnel in protective suits were all in place, receiving the antidote and receiving training. The first step was to inject the targeted medicine. On average, each of the 20 medical personnel was responsible for 20 soldiers, so it would take a maximum of 1 hour to complete the first injection. The effective time of the targeted medicine was 1 hour, and the ideal injection time for the antigen was 2 hours later. So after everyone finished the first injection, they returned to the queue and continued to wait for those who were inconvenient to move. 2 additional soldiers were arranged to be responsible for carrying stretchers. By a little after 8 o'clock in the morning, all 400 soldiers had been injected. Everyone was arranged to be isolated in a new place, and the next step of observation and antigen testing would be carried out in the next 2 or 3 days. Only after confirming that antibodies had been produced could they return to the original combat sequence. Everything went smoothly, and the medical staff and the wounded who had not been injected, who witnessed all this, were completely relieved none of the most seriously ill people had become zombies, and it was unlikely that the remaining people would. However, just in case, the medical staff were still closely monitoring the remaining 800 or so wounded. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Lifting the Gun Ban. Meanwhile, after 5 hours of emergency deliberation, the council issued a nationwide announcement that sent shockwaves across the country. The announcement highlighted several key points. First, the Red Robe cult was defined as an anti-human cult organization that threatened national security and harmed the interests of the people. Second, the gun ban was completely lifted, effective immediately. Third, citizens were encouraged to spontaneously form defense forces to strengthen their self-protection capabilities. This meant that the construction of defensive fortifications and the formation of armed teams by the people would be completely legalized. Fourth, private organizations with the resources were allowed to research, produce, sell, or lease lethal thermal weapons, including heavy combat equipment. This was a complete lifting of restrictions on private forces. At the same time, the Red Robe cult became thoroughly known to everyone. The content of the meeting was communicated via satellite phone to all reachable settlements, requiring them to post the announcement publicly and vigorously promote it. As soon as the announcement was issued, the whole country was in an uproar. Some cheered, some predicted doom, and opinions varied due to limitations in raw materials, processing technology, and processing equipment. The vast majority of settlements across the country lacked the ability to mass-produce weapons. At most, they could only process some crude guns and cannons with limited lethality using rudimentary methods. There was also the problem that even if some settlements benefited from their own advantages and possessed such conditions, the weapons and equipment produced could not be sold and could only be used for their own purposes. For example, some settlements were located in large factory areas such as ordnance factories and steel mills. They could gather the materials needed to produce guns through resource exchanges, but this was limited to the settlements involved in the manufacturing process. As for other settlements that had neither geographical advantages nor resources, they had no choice but to complain and predict doom. After all, in this day and age, money could no longer be used as currency. Some resourceful settlements came up with a roundabout way to save themselves, developing agriculture or light industry to exchange food or daily necessities for guns and ammunition. However, the quantity they could exchange for was small and the cycle was long. But it was better than nothing at this time. The Plum Forest settlement was a different scene. Mayor Gong rushed to the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce as soon as he heard the news. "Boss Niu, I have good news for you," Mayor Gong shouted as he entered the door. "Mayor Gong, what's making you so happy?" Niu Xingwang asked. "Good news. Great news." Mayor Gong was extremely excited. After the two sat down in the office, Mayor Gong told him about the lifting of the gun ban he had just received. Niu Xingwang's eyes also lit up. "Isn't this just perfect?" Mayor Gong said. "Look, our settlement has guns, currency, and a mercenary guild. We are about to take off. Boss Niu, I wonder if you're interested in expanding your business." Before Niu Xingwang could say a word, Mayor Gong rattled off a lot of things. "Mayor Gong, have you mentioned the antigen matter to anyone else?" Niu Xingwang asked. Mayor Gong was stunned. What did he mean by that? Why did the topic change so drastically? After a moment of reaction, he sighed and said, "Hey, don't mention it." After thinking it over, "I haven't mentioned the antigen matter to anyone." Mayor Gong thought that he was complaining about himself, why he hadn't used this resource for so long. Niu Xingwang was now his and the entire settlement's cash cow, so he certainly couldn't defend him, and could only endure any complaints. "Oh? Does Mayor Gong have any concerns?" Niu Xingwang asked with a smile. "Boss Niu, our Plum Forest settlement is just an ordinary small settlement. If the antigen matter gets out, we don't have the strength to protect it. I hope you can understand. Let's wait until the conditions are more favorable," Mayor Gong said awkwardly. Niu Xingwang nodded and said nothing. "But in the matter of the Chamber of Commerce and the Guild, can we do something?" Mayor Gong asked tentatively. "Mayor Gong, I think it's better for us to just mess around in Plum Forest. The world is too chaotic now. Let's just take care of ourselves," Niu Xingwang replied. When Mayor Gong heard this, he realized that the tone was wrong. This was such a good opportunity, how could he miss it? So he quickly asked, "Does Boss Niu have any concerns?" "Mayor Gong, I think you've misunderstood. I don't have any concerns. It's just that I'm just an ordinary citizen and don't have such big ambitions, Niu Xingwang replied nonchalantly. Mayor Gong understood that he was preparing to drive a hard bargain. He thought about it for a while and realized that this made sense. You can't expect a horse to run fast and not eat grass. So he said, then how about arranging a position for you, haha. Mayor Guang, you flatter me too much? How could I do that? I only know how to do business, I don't understand the things in officialdom. Niu Xingwang laughed and refused. Is he the position is too low, or is he really not interested? Mayor Gong pondered for a long time but couldn't figure it out. How about this? I'll arrange for you to be the deputy commander of the settlement. Do you think that's okay? Mayor Gong gritted his teeth and said, since Mayor Gong has said so much, I won't hide it from you. I plan to leave Plum Forest. Niu Xingwang sat up, leaned close to Mayor Gong, and said in a low voice. Chapter 110 Preparing to return to Binjiang. What? Mayor Gong was shocked and stood up abruptly. Boss Niu, you were doing so well in Milan, why do you want to leave? Mayor Gong asked anxiously. Mayor Gong, don't worry, sit down and listen to me slowly. Niu Xingwang comforted him. How can I not be anxious? Speak, I'm listening. Mayor Gong didn't appreciate it and continued to stand. What does Mayor Gong think of the 2055 white paper on human survival issued by the council? Niu Xingwang asked. Hearing Niu Xingwang's question, Mayor Gong regained his composure a little, sat back on the sofa, sighed, and said, Alice. In my opinion, this is probably telling everyone to fend for themselves. Oh? Why do you say that? Niu Xingwang asked. Isn't it obvious? Why give you a technical plan? Isn't that suggesting you build your own base? The implication is that whether you can build it depends entirely on yourself, Mayor Gong replied. Anything else? Niu Xingwang continued to ask. What else could there be? Mayor Gong glared and asked impatiently. Ha. Mayor Gong, don't be anxious. Let me ask you, why is the technical plan for building an underground base, and not one above ground? Niu Xingwang pointed upwards with his finger, asking meaningfully every time he thought of this. Niu Xingwang was filled with admiration. Long before the virus outbreak, Dongfang Chen had already chosen a location to build an underground base, and its current scale is already very large. Who could have imagined it? Who could have done it? If you wanted to spend some money to build an underground base now, no matter who you are, no matter how rich you are, or how high your position, don't even think about it. Moreover, this technical plan? Compared with Dongfang Chen's plan, there is no comparison at all. I haven't thought about it. Is there a difference? Mayor Gong looked blank. Of course there's a difference. And a big difference. Look at the air circulation system, life support system, crop planting technology. What are these? Niu Xingwang asked. He knew in advance that the ecological crisis was about to erupt, and by then the temperature, air, and even the sunlight would change, and humans would no longer be suitable for living on the surface. Otherwise, with his background in real estate, he probably wouldn't be able to figure it out so quickly, let alone show off here. What are they? Mayor Gong looked at him, not understanding what he was trying to express. Combined, they are a closed, artificial environment. Niu Xingwang hinted. Boss Niu, what are you trying to say? Mayor Gong was anxious. This white paper is hinting to everyone, the environment is about to change, and the outside world will no longer be suitable for human survival. Niu Xingwang said the key point. What? That's impossible. Mayor Gong's face was filled with disbelief upon hearing this. Then why doesn't the white paper tell you how to build an above-ground shelter, how to produce guns and ammunition? Would that be cheaper? You wouldn't even need to print this white paper, Niu Xingwang retorted. That's true. Mayor Gong pondered for a moment, but after all, this kind of thing is too far away, and Mayor Gong has no concept of whether to believe it or not. Seeing that Mayor Gong couldn't muster enough interest, Niu Xingwang knew that he hadn't elevated this matter to the level of needing extreme importance. Foresight brings success, lack of foresight brings failure. Mayor Gong, to be honest, I plan to build an underground base. Niu Xingwang dropped another bombshell. Oh, what? This was the third time Mayor Gong was surprised. You heard right, and I plan to start as soon as possible, Niu Xingwang said. Where do you plan to build it? Mayor Gong didn't know what to say. He felt that his thinking couldn't keep up with Niu Xingwang's pace. I plan to return to Binjiang, Niu Xingwang replied. Return to Binjiang? But there are zombies there, Mayor Gong said. We have equipment now, I'm not worried. Niu Xingwang smiled. Building an underground base is extremely costly, and personnel, materials, supplies, and machinery are not easy to gather. Mayor Gong reminded him. That's right, but I can solve it, Niu Xingwang said calmly. He can actually solve it? This boss Neo is indeed in real estate. Even a starved camel is still a camel. If he can solve it, wouldn't it be better to build an underground base in Milan? Mayor Gong was alarmed, frowning as he calculated. Can you not leave? Mayor Gong asked. I can. Unless Mayor Gong is willing to give me his position as mayor, Niu Xingwang said with a smile, half-jokingly now. Although the various settlements are nominally still receiving instructions from the council, they are actually acting independently. Haha, Boss Niu is so funny, Mayor Gong replied awkwardly. I'm not kidding. Mayor Gong, think about it, if you were in my shoes, would you help others build a base for free? Maybe after it's built, you won't even have a place to live yourself. Niu Xingwang's words had a double meaning. One, he was alluding to his tragic situation last year. He built a settlement for Binjiang City, worked hard for several months, and even invested all of his savings. In the end, the settlement was built, but he was reduced to being homeless and starving. Chapter 111 Discussion before separation. Secondly, he was telling Mayor Gong that unless he was in charge, he would rather choose a new site than consider building an underground base here. Of course, Niu Xingwang had the strength to directly remove Mayor Gong from his position and take over as the director of the resettlement camp himself. But what would he gain from that? With Dongfang Chen's support, he lacked nothing except official position and influence. Why would he want to be labeled a rebel? He was giving Mayor Gong one last chance, a final opportunity to choose. Mayor Gong no longer possessed the vision and breadth of mind to continue leading the resettlement camp. If he was unwilling to relinquish the power in his hands, then Niu Xingwang would no longer waste time on him. Mayor Gong understood the implications. In the post-apocalyptic world, losing power meant losing the foundation for survival. But if he didn't give up this power, and Niu Xingwang left him, would Milan resettlement camp have a future? He was acutely aware of Niu Xingwang's value, and he understood the relationship between the future of Milan resettlement camp and Niu Xingwang. If you return to Binjiang, will the Huituang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild also withdraw? Mayor Gong asked, wanting to make a final attempt. Niu Xingwang had already discerned Mayor Gong's choice. He would not relinquish the power in his hands. Mayor Gong, rest assured, the Huituang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild will continue to stay here and fulfill their value. Moreover, I plan to open branches of the Chamber of Commerce and the Guild in every resettlement camp in the near future, Niu Xingwang said without concealing his intentions. What? Mayor Gong was once again shocked by Niu Xingwang. He truly never ceased to amaze. He had come today intending to discuss with Niu Xingwang the possibility of expanding the Chamber of Commerce and the Guild's business, selling equipment and weapons to other resettlement camps, and promoting the resettlement camp's currency as well. But he never expected Niu Xingwang to think even bigger and act even more decisively, directly establishing branches in every resettlement camp. What great courage, and what great strength! Only now did he realize that he and Niu Xingwang were not on the same path. He now only wanted to be a local tyrant in his small corner, while Niu Xingwang was thinking of dominating the world. What he didn't know was that Niu Xingwang was merely a figurehead pushed to the forefront by Dongfang Chen. And all of this was just a small part of Project Firefly. However, Mayor Gong, since I've decided to choose a new site to build an underground base, there are a few points that need to be discussed with you, Niu Xingwang said. Mayor Gong looked at him without saying a word. Firstly, once the base is built, the headquarters of the Huituang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild will be located in my base, and Milan will only be adjusted to a branch office. In fact, Niu Xingwang didn't need to worry about the construction of the underground base at all. Dongfang Chen would naturally take care of everything. This was just a pretext. Secondly, I will launch a new electronic currency to serve as the common currency for the Chamber of Commerce in all resettlement camps. I hope Mayor Gong can understand that the risk is too great for me if I don't control the right to issue currency. Mayor Gong could neither understand nor agree. But there was nothing he could do. If the Huituang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild didn't recognize it, then the electronic currency in his hands would just be a string of useless numbers. Even without the computing power support provided by the Huituang Chamber of Commerce, the currency settlement business couldn't be carried out. The issuance of currency requires credit guarantees. This was not the peaceful era, and the resettlement camps were already struggling to survive, let alone having the ability and strength to provide such guarantees. It was like building a tall building. The foundation must be solid. What would happen if the building was built on sand? Wouldn't it collapse in an instant? There was also a key point. Crystal nuclei were actually used as the standard currency. To be honest, only Niu Xingwang dared to use money to buy crystal nuclei in Milan. No one else dared to because collecting crystal nuclei was useless and didn't generate value even if he wanted to keep it in his hands. It was unrealistic. Thirdly, Mayor Gong doesn't need to worry. All business will proceed as usual, without the slightest change. In fact, I will even allocate more resources to Milan. Mayor Gong finally felt relieved upon hearing this. It was best if there were no changes. If there were no changes, his Milan resettlement camp would not be in chaos. With the resources injected by Niu Xingwang, the resettlement camp would continue to thrive. In that case, I, Guang, will not insist. After all, Boss Niu is from Binjiang. I hope we can cooperate more in the future, Mayor Gong said with polite words. Definitely. I hope Mayor Gong can open the door of convenience and we can help each other, Niu Xingwang said as he stood up. Definitely. The two shook hands with smiles. Having settled this matter, Niu Xingwang reported the results to Dongfang Chen. Dongfang Chen was not surprised by this result, and even felt that Mayor Gong had a certain awareness. If he chose to turn against him, it would be a real loss, and in the end, he would get nothing. Now that it was determined that the Chamber of Commerce and the Guild had to be built in Binjiang, Dongfang Chen had to plan carefully. The base was in the dark, while the Chamber of Commerce and the Guild were in the open. The two must be separated on the surface. Chapter 112. Yan Zhangping came to express his gratitude. Xiaolin, I want to replan the Funing district of Binjiang City. I want to build a large, independent base there to serve as the headquarters for the Chamber of Commerce and the Labor Union. At the same time, the connection with their side should be as concealed as possible. I don't want anyone to discover the existence of another base. Understood, Commander. Well, get the plan done first, and start construction directly after the deployment of the second-generation Queen Bee, said Dongfang Chen. Understood, Commander. Oh, right. How is the analysis of the medicine you brought back going? Dongfang Chen asked. This medicine was the virus control drug for the infected, obtained from the Saint Envoy. The analysis is complete. It mainly contains some antibiotics and drugs to boost immunity, as well as a small amount of crystal nucleus powder, Xiaolin replied. What about the efficacy? Dongfang Chen asked. It can resist the spread of the virus, but the efficacy is not long-lasting and requires continuous medication. Moreover, the side effects are huge and will cause serious damage to organs. The trace biological energy provided by the crystal nucleus powder may prevent it from being life-threatening in the short term, Xiaolin replied. Okay, I understand. This was about what he had guessed. How is the state of the space station? Has the production task of the production module been completed? The worker bee robots have been produced. Then can we start the upgrade? Yes, okay. Then after all the medicine from the Southwest Military Region is delivered, start the upgrade. Understood, Commander. At the same time, Yan Zhangping returned to the military region after the meeting. It was already evening. The soldiers in the isolation zone have already treated 900 people, leaving only the last 300 or so mild infected. The heart that he had been holding in his throat was finally lowered. Call Rongpo in, Yan Zhangping ordered. As soon as he returned to the office, the messenger acknowledged the order and left. Rongpo, I have an important task for you. Go pick 200 of the best Xianfeng assault team members to come with me, Yan Zhangping ordered. Yes, Rongpo was overjoyed upon hearing this. This was his chance to shine, so he hurried back to prepare. Afterwards, Yan Zhangping had another phone call with Dongfang Chen. He wanted to personally thank him, and it would be even better if he could get some more information out of him. March 26, 2055 AD, morning. Yan Zhangping, with 200 Xianfeng assault team members, arrived in Binjiang again in 5 transport helicopters. They arrived at a relatively empty safe house provided by Dongfang Chen in advance and landed the planes. A group of soldiers quickly jumped off the plane, lined up, and stood guard. Rongpo, you come in with me. The others wait outside and be careful, Yan Zhangping ordered. Yes, walking into the courtyard. Dongfang Chen was already waiting at the door. The two shook hands warmly, and the group of 3 walked towards the base. Xiachen, you really know how to play. I must say, this is very well hidden, Yan Zhangping said after entering the base. Of course, my life is the most important thing, so I have to put some effort into it, Dongfang Chen replied with a smile. Xiachen, I'm here mainly to thank you. If it weren't for your assistance, I think the Southwest Military Region would most likely have been breached. Moreover, the 1,232 soldiers who were infected with the virus were also able to receive timely treatment thanks to the medicine you provided. Here, on behalf of the entire Southwest Military Region, I express my gratitude to you. With that, Yan Zhangping stood up and gave Dongfang Chen a standard military salute. Dongpo also followed behind Yan Zhangping, saluting at the same time. Okay, Commander Yan, why are you being so polite? Besides, I didn't provide assistance for free, didn't I also earn a lot of crystal nuclei from you? Dongfang Chen quickly stood up and motioned for Yan Zhangping to sit down. I have already told Fang Fang to provide more equipment to the southeast military region, so that the two military regions can collect crystal nuclei at the same time, and the speed will be much faster, Yan Zhangping said. Haha, Commander Yan has played a good move, clearing himself of any involvement on the surface, while secretly making a fortune. Dongfang Chen teased it was only because they were familiar that Dongfang Chen dared to openly criticize him like this. It seems you know everything. Yan Zhangping also smiled awkwardly. Yes. But it doesn't matter, the price is the price. How many crystal nuclei you can sell is Commander Yan's ability. Now that the production capacity of the equipment has increased a lot, Commander Yan can be bolder and release more resources. Dongfang Chen said, well, I came here to talk to you about this. I'll go to the northeast military region and the northwest military region later to promote the combat suits. Do you have any concerns on your side? Yan Zhangping replied, as long as you don't tell people where they were made, I don't care about anything else. Dongfang Chen said, okay. Yan Zhangping nodded. What do you think of the red coats? Yan Zhangping wanted to inquire about some information. From the information I have, I think the red coats are most likely just small minions on the surface, and there is a more powerful force behind them. Dongfang Chen said his guess. What makes you say that? Yan Zhangping asked. The redcoats are very loosely managed, and almost all of the members are newly developed and lack loyalty. Logically speaking, this kind of sect cannot stand without a foundation. From the last interrogation, we can also draw the conclusion that even the saint envoys and even the saint sons may not know all the affairs within the sect. That means there must be a higher hidden level above the saint sons. Dongfang Chen analyzed. Chapter 113. Zhuo Wenxin arrives at Merlin. Your analysis is very insightful. It seems there's a powerful opponent hidden in the shadows. This makes survival in the future even more challenging. Yan Zhangping sighed. Commander Yan, there's no need to be overly pessimistic. The cycle of heaven is like this. The more difficult things are, the greater the challenges that will be imposed. What we need to do is to do our best to fight for a chance of survival in this disaster. Dongfang Chen comforted. You're quite optimistic, Yan Zhangping said appreciatively. It's no use being pessimistic. If we want to live, this is the only way, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Oh, right, have you developed any new equipment recently? Let our Xianfeng assault team be the first to try it out, Yan Zhangping asked. It will be available soon. The base is currently being upgraded. Once everything is ready, I guarantee that Commander Yan's troops will be the first to experience it, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Good, it's a deal. After chatting for a while, Yan Zhangping got up and left, heading straight for the northeast military region, Yusa Province, Kunfeng City, Southeast Military Region Command. Mayor Zhuo, how has your recovery been in the military region these past few days? Zhongzhen Yu asked. Counselor Zhuang, I've recovered quite well, thank you very much, Zhuo Wenxin replied. So, what are your plans next? I plan to go to the Milan resettlement area. The person in charge there is my old partner, Guang Keiming. He was originally the mayor of Binjiang City, and at the end of last year, he led the surviving citizens of Binjiang City north to Milan. Zhuo Wenxin replied. That's fine too, at least it's somewhere to go. I'll arrange a plane to send you over there in a bit. The journey is not short, and it's not safe on the road. It would be difficult for the two of you to get there alone, Zhongzhen Yu said after considering it. That's really too kind of you, Counselor Zhuang, Zhuo Wenxin said happily. You're welcome. All I can do to help you is this much, Zhongzhen Yu sighed. Zhuo Wenxin took a deep breath and nodded silently. Kunfeng City is about 100 kilometers away from the Milan resettlement area in a straight line. Zhongzhen Yu sent a squad wearing full combat gear to escort Zhuo Wenxin. It took less than an hour to arrive because they had called ahead. Mayor Guang was already waiting at the tarmac. They were using the tarmac that the Huituang Chamber of Commerce had built on the roof. Brother Zhuo, welcome. Mayor Guang hurriedly stepped forward to shake hands after Zhuo got off the plane. Brother Guang, I've come to seek refuge with you, Zhuo Wenxin said jokingly. Hey. What do you mean, seek refuge? We've been partners for so many years, we don't distinguish between you and me, Mayor Guang said with a smile. Your development here is really good. You've even built a tarmac in the resettlement area, Zhuo Wenxin praised. We didn't build this, it was the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce, Mayor Gong said. Huatuang Chamber of Commerce, Zhuo Wenxian had never heard of it. Don't worry, you'll find out later. Let's go down first. We'll give you a proper welcome today. Mayor Gong prepared to pull Zhuo Wenxian away. Brothers, why don't you come down and have a simple meal with us? Zhuo Wenxian said to the soldiers who had escorted him. Mayor Zhuo, there's no need to trouble yourself. We have to go back to report immediately. One of the soldiers replied. Huh? Mayor Gong hummed in confusion. Brother Gong, what's wrong? Zhuo Wenxian asked, hearing Mayor Gong's confused sound. Brother, where did you get the clothes you're wearing? Mayor Gong asked. Mayor Gong, have you seen these clothes before? The soldier asked in confusion. Oh, I have, Mayor Gong replied. Every day, people from the mercenary guild come in and out, all wearing these kinds of clothes, so he was very familiar with them. But what Mayor Gong didn't expect was that even the soldiers of the Southeast Military Region were wearing these clothes. Could it be that the supplies in Niu Xingwang's hands were brought out from the military region? This was an important clue. Where have you seen them, Mayor Gong? Take us to see, the soldier asked anxiously. This. Hearing the soldier's anxious tone, Mayor Gong regretted asking what if Niu Xingwang's supplies came from an unclean source? Would that drag his resettlement area into the pit too? Oh, Mayor Gong, don't worry. We are also looking for the source of these clothes, the soldier explained, seeing that Mayor Gong was a little scared. What? Could it be that the Southeast Military Region is buying goods from Niu Xingwang? Is Niu Xingwang's business this big? He's even doing business with the military? No wonder he can build an underground base without batting an eye. A big money bags. With the soldier's words, several thoughts flashed through Mayor Gong's mind. Mayor Gong, the soldier asked again, seeing that Mayor Gong hadn't responded. Oh, we have a lot of them here. The mercenaries all wear these kinds of clothes, Mayor Gong replied. Since it wasn't dangerous, it wouldn't hurt to do a favor. Really? Several soldiers hurriedly stepped forward after hearing this. Yes, Mayor Gong confirmed again. Then please take us to see. Thank you very much, the soldier said eagerly. No problem, follow me. Mayor Gong responded. To get from the tarmac to the street, they had to pass through the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce Hall. After seeing this scene, Gu Chengyi quickly sent the message to Niu Xingwang. Niu Xingwang frowned after receiving the message. Chapter 114 Zhuangziang's arrival. Soldiers? Which unit would come to the Merlin settlement? Their current reach only extends to the Central Military Region and the Southwest Military Region. The Dark Knight team of the Central Military Region has Shen Wengang and Luo'er, and the Southwest Military Region has Yan Fangfang. Niu Xingwang was worried that Gong Kaming was up to something, so he contacted Dongfang Chen immediately. Soldiers. How many people came? Dongfang Chen frowned upon hearing that soldiers had gone to Merlin. About a dozen. Niu Xingwang replied. Yan Zhangping just left. He shouldn't be able to reach Merlin so quickly. Besides, Yan Zhangping's destination is the Northeast Military Region. Merlin has nothing to do with him, so there's no reason for him to go there. Then it's very likely to be someone from the Southeast Military Region. Let's continue to observe for now, and contact me if there's any news. Dongfang Chen thought, a dozen people shouldn't cause any accidents. It's here. This is a mercenary guild established by a businessman in Merlin. The people in the guild all wear this kind of clothing, Mayor Gong said, leading the soldiers to the entrance of the mercenary guild. Several soldiers looked around, and the people patrolling the entrance were indeed wearing combat uniforms. The soldier felt that this information was very important, so he reported it to Zhuang Zhenyu via satellite phone. Zhuang Zhenyu was furious after hearing the report. What? A civilian force in a small settlement is wearing combat uniforms? Is there any justice? Is there any law? Zhuang Zhenyu had only gotten 200 sets of clothes on credit from the Southwest Military Region in the past 2 days, and he hasn't even paid the bill yet. He didn't expect that someone in his territory had already put them on. This made Zhuang Zhenyu suspect that the clothes had been leaked from their Southeast Military Region. No wonder Yan Zhangping didn't let him investigate the origin of the equipment. Was he afraid that he would discover the secret? Outrageous, simply outrageous. Since the clothes were made in his Southeast Military Region, why did he run to the Southwest Military Region to buy them? Simply outrageous. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He quickly grabbed his coat, went out, and headed straight for the Merlin settlement. Another one? Looks like a high-ranking official. Niu Xingwang was stunned again when he heard Gu Qingyi's report. What kind of wind is blowing today? Why is it so strange? Commander, it's here. The soldier waiting at the door reported when he saw Zhuang Zhenyu arrive, Mayor Gong was already exhausted from being tossed around. He had already waited for Zhuo Wenchen and his party on the rooftop of the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce for a long time. Before he could catch his breath, he took the soldiers back to welcome Zhuang Zhenyu. What's going on? I really regret saying that one extra word, Mayor Gong thought, panting, but when he heard the soldier shout Commander, he immediately perked up. My God! Commander? Zhuang Zhenyu, commander of the Southeast Military Region? Member of Congress? Mayor Gong wasn't a newbie in the officialdom. He had that much knowledge at this time. He didn't feel tired at all. A big shot came to Merlin. It's going to take off. However, at this time, no one noticed Mayor Gong's eager gaze. Zhuang Zhenyu looked around, and the people patrolling the entrance were indeed wearing combat uniforms. Zhang Yuanke, who was sitting in the guild's office, noticed the abnormality at the door, so he went downstairs and walked out. Mayor Gong, why don't you come in and have a seat since you're already at the door? Zhang Yuanke asked with a smile. Let me introduce you. This is the president of our mercenary guild, Xiansha. Mayor Gong hurriedly stepped forward to introduce. This is, Zhang Yuanke looked at Mayor Gong and asked, this is our commander of the Southeast Military Region, Commander Zhuang Zhenyu. Mayor Gong introduced. President Xiansha, I would like to ask, where did your guild's combat uniforms come from? Zhuang Zhenyu asked eagerly. Commander Zhuang, our combat uniforms are all provided by the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce. Zhang Yuanke was confused and didn't say much. Huatuang Chamber of Commerce. Zhuang Zhenyu had never heard of it. Oh, the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce is a new organization established by a businessman in Merlin. Mayor Gong explained from the side. Great. Mayor Gong, take me to meet the president of this Huatuang Chamber of Commerce. Zhuang Zhenyu said happily. He thought, the combat uniforms must have come from this Huatuang Chamber of Commerce. Congressman Zhuang, how about we have a simple meal first, take a rest, and then I'll take you over there. Mayor Gong finally met a congressman, and he had to find a chance to build a relationship. There's no need to eat, lead the way, Zhuang Zhenyu commanded with an unquestionable expression. Oh, okay. Mayor Gong didn't dare to refuse and hurriedly agreed, so the group marched towards the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce again. At this time, Zhuang Zhenyu realized the difference in the Merlin settlement. The streets were bustling with people, and there were various small vendors on both sides. Such an atmosphere was rare in the whole country. However, he didn't say anything. Since ancient times, Yushu province has been a commercially prosperous and economically strong province. Perhaps this is a business gene engraved in its bones. Soon, the group arrived at Niu Xingwang's office. Congressman Zhuang, this is the big boss of the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce, Niu Xingwang. Mayor Gong introduced. Boss Niu, this is Commander Zhuang of our Southeast Military Region. Commander Zhuang, I've heard so much about you, Niu Xingwang quickly greeted. Chapter 115, Calming Doubts. Boss Niu, I've come this time to inquire whether your company provides the combat suits for the mercenary guild. Zhuang Zhenyu got straight to the point. Yes, that's right. Niu Xingwang hesitated for a moment before replying. Excellent. Boss Niu, I wonder if you manufacture these combat suits yourself? Zhuang Zhenyu asked, overjoyed. Oh, I'm sorry, Commander Zhuang, the combat suits are not manufactured by our Huatuang Commerce. Niu Xingwang replied. What? They aren't. Zhuang Zhenyu was somewhat surprised. That's right. Commander Zhuang, we are only responsible for sales and rentals. Niu Xingwang replied. Then, may I ask where your supplies come from? Zhuang Zhenyu inquired. Hearing this, Niu Xingwang thought that Zhuang Zhenyu didn't understand business at all. Who would ask someone where their supplies came from right off the bat? I'm sorry, Commander Zhuang, it's not that I don't want to tell you. Firstly, I'm not entirely sure myself, as the location for picking up goods is designated each time. Secondly, we have an agreement that forbids revealing the source. If we violate this, we won't be able to get the goods anymore. Niu Xingwang fabricated a lie. Zhuang Zhenyu didn't say anything and nodded to himself. This was very similar to what Yan Xiangping had said. Then, may I ask what the selling price of these combat suits is? Zhuang Zhenyu continued to ask. Commander Zhuang, telling you the selling price is useless. Niu Xingwang replied. This was a message that Dongfang Chen had just sent to Niu Xingwang. After hearing their conversation, he already knew Zhuang Zhenyu's purpose for coming here. He wanted to bypass Yan Fangfang and find the whereabouts of the supplies. How so? Zhuang Zhenyu frowned. Because I'm not responsible for military channels here and cannot do business with the army. Niu Xingwang replied. According to Dongfang Chen's instructions, you don't do business with the army? Then who is responsible for the military channels? Zhongzhenyu asked. I'm not very clear, but it's said to be someone from the Sichuan area. Niu Xingwang replied the reason for saying this was that Dongfang Chen didn't want others to think that Tuotong Commerce had any involvement with the military, maintaining mutual independence. Sichuan, Zhongzhenyu basically understood. The person from the Sichuan area that Niu Xingwang was talking about was probably referring to Yan Fangfang. It seems I can't get around that little girl. Zhongzhenyu thought to himself. That's right, Sichuan. I'm not very clear about the rest. Niu Xingwang affirmed releasing information to this extent was sufficient. It could dispel Zhongzhenyu's doubts and also refer the problem back to the southwest military region. It's okay. I'll listen to your price here and compare it. Zhongzhenyu asked. He wanted to find out if there was a difference between the two prices. I haven't started selling to outsiders yet. I'm only renting them out. Niu Xingwang replied. Why is that? Zhongzhenyu continued to ask. Firstly, the issuance of currency is not yet perfect, and there may be adjustments. Secondly, people don't have what I need in their hands, so they can't buy them. Therefore, the current strategy is for mercenaries to rent the combat suits on credit after obtaining certification from the guild, and then use the crystal cores to offset the rent. Niu Xingwang explained. Zhongzhenyu nodded, expressing his approval of Niu Xingwang. This could be considered a conscientious merchant. More people might not care about the lives of the common people. If you want to obtain equipment, you have no choice but to go out and kill zombies without protection. Although this is understandable, the business becomes a bloody business. Boss Niu is truly benevolent, Zhongzhenyu complimented. As a senior figure in China, he rarely complimented others like this. Commander Zhong is too kind. I just want more people to earn crystal cores for me, Niu Xingwang said with a smile. Then, if I'm not mistaken, Boss Niu also has antigens in his hands, right? Zhongzhenyu changed the subject. Commander Zhong knows about antigens. Niu Xingwang asked. Dongfang Chen had already told him about these things, so he certainly wouldn't be surprised. However, asking this way was the normal reaction. This sentence frightened Mayor Gong beside him, and he thought to himself, it's over. If Counselor Zhong knows about the antigens, then the Milan settlement will probably be wiped out. I've been to Sichuan, and I brought this batch of combat suits back from there. Of course, I know about the antigens, Zhongzhenyu explained. Niu Xingwang nodded symbolically and then explained, I'm sorry, Commander Zhong, but it's the same. I can't sell the antigens here to the military either. Zhongzhenyu nodded and didn't force the issue. Since both Yan Fangfang and Niu Xingwang were suppliers, it didn't matter to him where he got the goods from. At least he was certain now that Yan Fangfang and Niu Xingwang were both primary sources, and that was enough. It's okay. Since Boss Niu can't supply the military, I won't force it. However, the matter of antigens is too significant, and Boss Niu, as an ordinary private businessman, may find it difficult to protect them. Zhongzhenyu said, thank you for Commander Zhong's reminder, but the mercenary guild will provide security for the Chamber of Commerce, so I think there won't be a big problem. Niu Xingwang replied. Zhongzhenyu shook his head with a smile. He thought Niu Xingwang was taking things too simply. Once the matter of antigens became widely known, countless people would covet them openly and secretly. Not to mention a small mercenary guild, the entire Milan settlement couldn't withstand it. But what he didn't know was that Niu Xingwang's confidence didn't come from the mercenary guild. Once Dongfang Chen established the Chamber of Commerce's independent underground base, no one would be able to threaten the Chamber of Commerce's safety. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, Space Station upgraded to Level 3. Inside the underground base of Binjiang City, Commander, all the potions have been delivered, and the aircraft has returned. Do you want to upgrade the space station? Upgrade it? Okay. As Xiaolin finished speaking, all the images on the large screen disappeared, and the screen displayed, Space Station is upgrading, please wait. 10 minutes later, Commander, the space station upgrade is complete. Current level, Level 3. The current space station has a total of 9 modules, which are as follows: Power Module, Level 3, Core Module, Optical Brain Level 3, Space Station Main Program, Central Hall, Level 2, used for connecting modules, Experiment Module, Level 2, provides technical solutions for the ground, Research and Development Module, Level 1, provides research and development solutions for the ground and space station, Control Module, Level 1. Mission Control for Worker Bee Robots, Ground-to-Air Spacecraft, etc. Production Module, Level 1. Production and Manufacturing of Functional Equipment, Quantum Communication Module, Level 1. Realizes quantum communication between the base, supercomputing center, and spacecraft. Mounting Module, Level 1. Mounts a miniature ground-to-air spacecraft. Well, let's upgrade the central hall to Level 3 first, Dongfang Chen said. Commander, currently, under the control of the main control module, the worker bee robots can perform a maximum of 5 tasks simultaneously. Do you want to upgrade multiple modules at the same time? Xiaolin asked. If all the worker bee robots perform one task at the same time, can the time be shortened? Dongfang Chen thought for a moment and asked. Yes, it can, Xiaolin replied. Then concentrate all the worker bee robots and upgrade the central hall to Level 3 first, Dongfang Chen replied. Okay, Commander. By the way, how many people have signed up for the first batch of trainees so far? Since Dongfang Chen sent a message to all sleepers to recruit trainees a week ago, he has not paid attention to the registration situation. The current number of applicants is 68. 68 people? It's still a bit few. Dongfang Chen muttered. This means that each person has recommended less than 2 people. How can this work? Send them another message, asking them to speed up the development of new people. Before April 1st, at least recommend 5 people each? Dongfang Chen thought for a while. It seems that he needs to set some targets, otherwise, everyone will not realize the urgency of the task. Okay, Commander. 2 minutes later, Commander, the message has been sent. Feng He sent a message asking if the soldiers in the army are okay. Xiaolin said, tell her that as long as their character is good, their background is clean, there is no problem. Dongfang Chen thought for a moment and replied. Originally, Dongfang Chen didn't plan to develop soldiers as sleepers. But on the other hand, it's not bad to develop them. Although it seems that there are no problems in various military regions at present, it is hard to guarantee that ambitious people will not appear in the long run, and it is also hard to guarantee that they will not be infiltrated by cult forces. So it's always good to prepare in advance and take precautions. Has the deployment of the second-generation Queen Bee been completed? Dongfang Chen asked. The deployment has been completed. Well, has the plan for Funing District been completed? It has been completed, and the planning drawings have been sent to your panel. Dongfang Chen opened the message and glanced at it roughly. Well, let's do it this way. Okay, Commander, now that the second-generation Queen Bee has been deployed, it is time to clean up the urban area of Binjiang City. Order the Queen Bee to fully manufacture anthrobots, and use the urban area of Binjiang City as the boundary. Send out anthrobots to clean up all the zombies, Dongfang Chen ordered. Yes, Commander. How many transport planes have been produced so far? 2 units, Xiaolin replied. Well, increase the production of transport planes to 10 units, Dongfang Chen said. Okay, Commander, the Power Research and Development Module in the base only manufactures one type of engine, which is the anti-gravity engine. Therefore, the aircraft produced by the Aircraft Production Module, whether it is his private plane or the transport plane planned to be used to transport materials and trainees, are equipped with this anti-gravity engine. Dongfang Chen was also afraid of trouble. Since an anti-gravity engine can be used for most of the large equipment in the future, there is no need to make it fancy. The second-generation Queen Bee is still powerful. Dongfang Chen sighed. The first-generation Queen Bee has limited capabilities. To do this, she must stop doing that. This has always been a headache for Dongfang Chen, but this problem is gone forever. How is the progress on the supercomputing center? Dongfang Chen asked. The Queen Bee in charge of the supercomputing center has completed the infrastructure construction and has just begun to manufacture quantum computers. Okay, anyway, the computing power is still enough for the time being, and he is not in a hurry. If the number of sleepers increases and the business of the Chamber of Commerce and the Guild gets on the right track, the computing power will definitely not be enough at that time. But there will definitely be enough time. Xiaolin, next I plan to design a new combat suit. Do you have any suggestions? If the level of the space station's research and development module is upgraded to level 2, the memory fiber manufacturing technology can be released, Xiaolin replied. Chapter 117 Memory Fiber. Oh? Tell me about it. Dongfang Chen was a little interested. Memory fiber is a synthetic material that has 2 states, excited and ground. Under the control of electrical signals, the memory fiber can be switched between these 2 states. What's the use of that? Dongfang Chen didn't quite understand. This memory fiber can be integrated into combat suits, and the shape of the combat suit in both the ground and excited states can be adjusted at the beginning of production. This way, one-button transformation can be achieved, Xiaolin replied. I understand. Does that mean that in the ground state, the combat suit can be made into the shape of any item? Dongfang Chen asked. Yes, but it needs a certain volume. If it's too small, it won't be able to accommodate the combat suit, Xiaolin replied. Okay, I understand. I'll think about it. How long will it take for the central hall to complete the upgrade? 3 days, Xiaolin replied. Then, after the central hall upgrade is complete, prioritize upgrading the research bay. Okay, Commander. Oh, right, after the space station is upgraded to level 3, can't the number of drone robots be increased? Dongfang Chen asked. It can't be increased temporarily. If all the cabins are upgraded to level 3, the upper limit can be increased from 500 to 1,200, okay. After the research bay is upgraded, upgrade the other cabins as well. Upgrade all the cabins to level 3 as soon as possible. After the upgrade is complete, increase the number of drone robots as soon as possible, Dongfang Chen ordered. Okay, Commander. Commander, Wukong is requesting a call. Xiaolin suddenly reported Wukong. Name, Haowenbin. Sleeper cell serial number 16. Veteran, Zhang Ji's comrade. Connect. Dongfang Chen replied. Boss, I've discovered something strange here, Haowenbin reported. What's strange? Dongfang Chen asked. Last night, more than 20 people in the settlement were suddenly attacked by rats. Judging from the wounds, those rats should all be zombies, Haowenbin said. Zombie rats. Dongfang Chen understood that the virus was beginning to infect the animal kingdom. Yes, Haowenbin confirmed. Have those rats been caught? Dongfang Chen asked. No, the settlement headquarters has already mobilized everyone to search for them, but they haven't been found yet. Okay, I understand the situation. Contact me if you have any further news. Okay, boss. After hanging up the phone, Dongfang Chen frowned. This was very dangerous. Rats are very stealthy animals, and it's impossible to completely eradicate them with manpower alone. That means that from this moment on, all the settlements will enter another peak of infection. Fortunately, the weather in the north is still relatively cold, and mosquitoes and other insects have not yet become active. Otherwise, the harm caused by the virus would be even greater. The southern settlements had basically all been moved to the north last winter. The southwest military region was the last to withdraw, but Yan Xiangping borrowed a lot of transport planes from the southeast military region, and they have now evacuated almost completely. It seems that I need to speed things up. Hutuang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild must cover most of the settlements as soon as possible. Dongfang Chen thought the main problems currently facing him were 1. The underground base being built for the Hutuang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild in Funing District, Binjiang City, would take a certain amount of time to complete. 2. There was currently a severe lack of management talent. It would be difficult for Niu Xingwang alone to rapidly expand the business. 3. There were currently insufficient crystal cores. Completing the expansion of the base's internal cabins was not a problem, but there were not nearly enough crystal cores to rapidly establish branches of the Hutuang Chamber of Commerce and the Mercenary Guild throughout the country. 4. Building the influence of the Chamber of Commerce and the Guild would also take a certain amount of time. 5. If they vigorously developed personnel, the base's grain production warehouse would need to be further expanded, and the growth of grain had a cycle, which also required time. In the end, everything requires time. I wonder if there are crystal cores in the bodies of animal zombies, Dongfang Chen wondered. Xiaolin, do you think animals as small as rats have crystal cores in their bodies? Dongfang Chen asked. Yes, all zombies must have crystal cores, Xiaolin replied. Then it should be smaller than the crystal core in the head of a human zombie, right? Dongfang Chen asked. Yes, Commander. The size of the crystal core is directly proportional to the brain capacity, Xiaolin replied. Wait, do you mean it's directly proportional to brain capacity, not body weight? Dongfang Chen asked. Yes, Commander. It is not directly proportional to body weight, Xiaolin replied affirmatively. Then it seems that most animals are unlikely to have crystal cores as large as those of human zombies, Dongfang Chen replied. Yes, then, in that case, do we need to change our method of collecting crystal cores? Dongfang Chen asked. It's impossible for the crystal cores of 100 rats to have the same value as the crystal cores of 100 human zombies, right? No, The value of a crystal core does not depend on its size, but on its energy density, Xiaolin explained. So, the crystal core of a Tier 1 rat zombie has the same value as the crystal core of a Tier 1 human zombie, Dongfang Chen asked. Yes. Crystal cores of the same tier have the same value, regardless of where they come from, Xiaolin replied. Okay, I understand. Chapter 118, Dangers and Opportunities of Zombie Rats. Afterward, Dongfang Chen and Hao Wenbin reconnected by phone, and he explained the previous events to him. Immediately following that, he used message reminders to share the information and the explanation of the value of the crystal cores with all the lurkers, as well as Niu Xingwang. If all animal zombies had crystal cores, and they had the same value as human zombie crystal cores, then this matter would be easy to handle, and it would even be a great help to Dongfang Chen. Xiaolin, arrange for a portion of the ant robots to manufacture a batch of small queen ants for the Chamber of Commerce and the Trade Union to use, and make them into a shape similar to a tower-like launcher. I have a great use for them, Dongfang Chen said. Do you mean to disguise the queen ants as launchers? Xiaolin asked. That's right. Okay, Commander. How many do you need to manufacture? Xiaolin asked. Manufacture 200 first, and we'll talk about it if it's not enough, Dongfang Chen replied. Okay, Commander. His plan was to donate a batch of ultrasonic launchers to various settlements in the name of the Huatung Chamber of Commerce, one for each settlement. He would explain that as long as they buried this launcher underground according to the requirements, the ultrasonic waves continuously released by the launcher could protect the settlement from attacks by animal zombies. In reality, this launcher was the queen ant. It could not drive away zombies, but it could control ant robots to eliminate zombies. The final result would be the same as driving away zombies, and people would not notice the difference. His purpose in doing this was to take advantage of this opportunity to deploy the queen ants first. Since zombie animals have crystal cores, he could remotely send instructions to these queen ants to eliminate these zombies and decompose the energy in the crystal cores to manufacture more ant robots and supporting geothermal power rooms. In this way, he could use official channels to help himself accomplish the preliminary work of building the Chamber of Commerce and the Trade Union without investing manpower and crystal cores. Moreover, it could also create a wave of advertising for the Huatung Chamber of Commerce. Simply perfect. Then the biggest problem next was, who to talk to the council and release this news? The answer was obvious. Yan Zhangping. Dongfang Chen directly dialed Yan Zhangping's satellite phone. Xiaolin, what's the matter? Yan Zhangping had just arrived at the Northeast Military Region, and his butt wasn't even warm yet. Seeing Dongfang Chen's call, he was a little surprised, so he asked, Commander Yan, something big has happened. Dongfang Chen said in a very anxious tone. What happened? Yan Zhangping's heart skipped a beat. I found zombie rats here, Dongfang Chen replied. You kid, you scared me. Yan Zhangping breathed a sigh of relief and joked. You're so old, and you're still afraid of rats, Commander Yan. It really hurts my heart to chat with you like this. I kindly reminded you, but you actually mocked me, Dongfang Chen said dissatisfied. Oh? Remind me of what? Yan Zhangping didn't understand. Did you buy your position as commander with money? I'll just ask you one question. What would happen if zombie rats appeared in your military camp? Think about the rest yourself. Goodbye. Dongfang Chen hung up the phone angrily. Although Dongfang Chen had an element of scaring Yan Zhangping, it couldn't be said that there was no such possibility. Moreover, if he didn't say it seriously, Yan Zhangping wouldn't take it seriously. Yan Zhangping was so frightened by Dongfang Chen's words that he immediately became alert. Oh my god. What if zombie rats really appeared in the military camp? Would everyone suffer? Maybe by the time he returned to the Southwest Military Region, the entire military camp would have become a zombie's paradise. I dare not think about it. I really dare not think about it. Old Yan, what's wrong with you? Did a rat get into your house? Suo Tunhua, the commander of the Northeast Military Region, saw Yan Zhangping's face suddenly change and joked. Yan Zhangping was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat, and he quickly dialed Dongfang Chen back with a trembling hand, completely ignoring Suo Tunhua's teasing. The phone connected. Xiaolin, I was wrong just now. I apologize to you. Yan Zhangping lowered his posture and quickly apologized. Oh, Commander Yan. What's the matter? Why did you suddenly call me? Dongfang Chen pretended to be ignorant. Xiaolin, what you said just now is true. Yan Zhangping asked. What's true and what's false? I don't understand. Did you dial the wrong number? Dongfang Chen asked. Yan Zhangping looked at the number. It was correct. Damn, this kid is making fun of me. But at this moment, Jens Hangping didn't care about that much. Saving his life was the most important thing. Xiaolin, I was wrong just now. I solemnly apologize to you. This is a major matter, I dare not joke about it. Jens Hangping became serious. Haha. Okay, let's get down to business. Now I can tell you clearly that the zombie rat matter is absolutely true. If I'm not mistaken, it won't be long before they appear in every settlement, and in large numbers. I called you to remind you to prepare early. Dongfang Chen emphasized the words in large numbers to create a terrifying sense of imagery. Jens Hangping stopped talking when he heard this. He paced anxiously in Suo Tunhua's office, walking back and forth. Dongfang Chen also didn't speak, quietly waiting for him to digest this information. Chapter 119, First, Trick Suo into Simulation. Xiao Chen, do you have any solutions? Jens Hangping thought for a long time, but couldn't figure out how to deal with these zombie rats. If they were really to be caught, there would be no need to sleep for 24 hours a day, and it was not certain that they could be caught or caught completely. There are definitely solutions. It's just that the cost is a bit high, Dongfang Chen replied. Oh? What solution? Jens Hangping breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that Dongfang Chen had a solution. I have 3 plans, upper, middle, and lower. I wonder which one Commander Yan would like to hear, Dongfang Chen asked. Speak properly. Jens Hangping scolded jokingly. All right. I have just developed an ultrasonic transmitter. As long as it is deployed according to the requirements, it can completely drive away animal zombies, Dongfang Chen said. That's great. Give me a few first. Jens Hangping was overjoyed. What do you want so many for? 1 is enough, Dongfang Chen said. There are still several military districts, Jens Hangping explained. Okay, I understand. But the price is a bit expensive, Dongfang Chen reminded. Although his purpose was to deploy them for free as soon as possible, one must eat 1 bite at a time, and one must walk 1 step at a time. If you offer it for free right away, the other party will think you have ulterior motives. How expensive is it? Jens Hangping asked. But he knew that no matter how expensive it was, he would have to buy it. It's not a good feeling to have invisible zombies staring at you in the army all the time. 1,000 crystals each, Dongfang Chen said, stating a price that was neither high nor low. You scared me. I thought you were going to make an exorbitant demand, Jens Hangping scoffed, thinking that this young man really didn't know how to do business. This kind of life-saving thing should start at least 10,000 crystals. He even had the nerve to say 1,000 crystals. Commander Yan, I'm giving you a great gift. It hurts my heart when you say that, Dongfang Chen started again. Jens Hangping reacted. That's right, 1,000 crystals were nothing to him. But other military regions needed them. Wouldn't it be reasonable for him to sell them for 10,000 crystals? Wasn't this the same as picking up money? The other military regions would also remember his kindness. I understand. When I go back this time, I will reward you handsomely, Jens Hangping said with a smile. Commander Yan, I haven't finished speaking yet, Dongfang Chen said. Oh. Tell me, your military region has the financial resources, but the resettlement areas don't. If these rats were to get into the resettlement areas, Alice. I don't even want to think about it, Dongfang Chen pretended to be very worried. Then what suggestions do you have? Jens Hangping frowned. This was indeed a problem. Although the resettlement areas were nominally taking care of themselves, in the face of this kind of extinction-level disaster, the country had to have a good solution. They couldn't just watch everyone die. I have no suggestions. I am just a businessman, and businessmen seek wealth. The biggest concession I can make is to provide you with this ultrasonic transmitter at a low price. As for who pays for it and how they pay for it, I don't care, Dongfang Chen said, stopping at that point. Okay, I understand. This matter needs to be discussed. But our military region will take them first. Please hurry up and prepare the goods. I will have someone pick them up later. Jens Hangping said and hung up the phone. He was in Suo Tunhua's office, and it was inconvenient to talk in detail. Old Yan, what's wrong? You look so surprised. Suo Tunhua had been listening for a long time but couldn't figure out what was going on. Old Suo, something happened. Jens Hangping imitated Dongfang Chen's tone, frowning and acting like a major enemy was at hand. What happened? Suo Tunhua quickly leaned forward, ready to be a bystander. We found zombie rats over there, Jens Hangping said. Zombie rats? Suo Tunhua was puzzled. That's right. Rats live in groups. Think about it, if one appears, isn't a group far away, Jens Hangping said, looking at him. That's true, Suo Tunhua understood as long as one appeared, it wouldn't take a few days for all the rats to turn into zombies. Plus, with a rat's concealment, the destructive power of this thing was unimaginable. Alice, have you found any here? Yan Zhangping asked, pretending to be concerned. Not yet, Suo Tunhua replied, but his heart was already in his throat whether there were any or not. Who could say for sure? It's good that there aren't any. But old Suo, you must not lower your guard. If someone gets bitten, I'm afraid the entire military camp will be in chaos before long. Yan Zhangping continued to pretend to be concerned. Suo Tunhua had already realized the seriousness of the problem and was constantly calculating how to deal with it. For a moment, the atmosphere fell silent. Old Suo, old Suo. Let's start with you first. Yan Zhangping was overjoyed, looking at him as if he were looking at a god of wealth. Old Yan, judging from what you just said, you already have a solution. Suo Tunhua thought for a long time, but couldn't come up with any good methods. A small rat could wipe out a well-trained army. This was no joke. Yes, that's right. I'm preparing to order a batch of ultrasonic transmitters. The ultrasonic waves released by this equipment can drive away animal zombies. Not only rats, but other animal zombies can also be driven away, Yan Zhangping explained. There's such a good thing. Suo Tunhua's eyes lit up, and he made up his mind to get a few from Yan Zhangping no matter what. Chapter 120. Suo assimilation was frightened. Yes, I just found out too. But, it's a little expensive. Yan Zhangping shook his head faintly, sighing, what do you mean? Are people still doing business these days? Suo Tunhua didn't understand, of course, and it's big business. Yan Zhangping glanced at him, looking at his unworldly appearance. Old Yan, enough. Did you come all the way here to make fun of me? Suo Tunhua saw Yan Zhangping's expression and thought he was just fooling around with him. Originally, I brought you some good things this time. But looking at you like this, you definitely don't want them. In that case, I have to go back quickly, lest my house be stolen by rats. With that, Yan Zhangping prepared to get up. Don't, just kidding. Just kidding. Sit down, sit down. Suo Tunhua panicked upon hearing this and hurriedly got up to stop him. Yan Zhangping didn't give him a good look and sat back on the sofa. My place isn't as good as the South, the news is blocked. Old Yan, don't take it to heart. Tell me first, where did you buy that so-called transmitter? What's the price? Suo Tunhua asked. He didn't care about what good things Yan Zhangping had brought. In his opinion, besides cigarettes and alcohol, what other good things could there be? What he was most concerned about right now was the rat problem. Ultrasonic transmitter. This thing isn't bought with money, it's bought with crystal cores. You know crystal cores, right? Yan Zhangping asked. I know. That thing grows in the heads of zombies, but I don't know what it's for. Suo Tunhua replied. Their higher-ups often exchanged information, so the matter of crystal cores was no longer a secret to them. One ultrasonic transmitter costs 10,000 crystal cores, Yan Zhangping said. What? Suo Tunhua exploded. What was the concept of 10,000 crystal cores? That meant killing at least 10,000 zombies. From last year until now, it was hard to say whether Suo Tunhua's troops had killed a total of 10,000 zombies. This was too expensive. What? You still think it's expensive? Once your barracks become a rat's paradise, you won't think it's expensive. Anyway, I don't think it's expensive. I've already ordered a dozen of them, planning to put one in each military camp, Yan Zhangping said dismissively. A dozen is hundreds of thousands of crystal cores. Suo Tunhua was shocked, so he asked, Old Yan, where did you get so many crystal cores? That's right, now you're getting it, Yan Zhangping thought. Hundreds of thousands of crystal cores are nothing. We get tens of thousands every day now. It's just a matter of a day or two. Yan Zhangping pretended to be boastful. Old Yan, you're going too far. How could you do such a thing? Aren't the lives of the soldier lives? You're actually letting them go out to get crystal cores. Suo Tunhua couldn't bear it anymore. This was just nonsense. This was exactly the same expression as Zhanggayu had before, only you know. I'm telling you, without this bit of confidence, would I dare risk the lives of the soldiers? Yan Zhangping said contemptuously. Then tell me, what is your confidence? Suo Tunhua questioned. Rongpo, come in. Yan Zhangping didn't waste any words with him and directly revealed his trump card. Rongpo directly pushed the door open, stood still, and saluted. Old Suo, come, let me show you. This is my confidence. This is also the good thing I brought you this time. Yan Zhangping pulled him to Rongpo's site and said immediately. Yan Zhangping explained the characteristics of the combat suit again. No wonder you dare to let people go out to kill zombies. After listening, Suo Tunhua understood everything. How is it? Awesome, right? Yan Zhangping smiled. Good stuff. With this, who's still afraid of zombies? Suo Tunhua exclaimed. Alright, the message has been delivered. I won't stay any longer. You slowly digest it. I'm going back, Yan Zhangping said. What? Suo Tunhua was stunned. He had already prepared his posture, but Yan Zhangping didn't accept the move and was leaving directly. What's wrong? Old Suo? Do you have something else? Yan Zhangping asked, pretending not to know. It's not. Did you bring any of this equipment for me? Suo Tunhua asked. I brought people, brought gasoline, and brought you the message. What? You still want me to bring you equipment? What are you dreaming of? Yan Zhangping teased. Then you have to tell me where to buy this equipment. Suo Tunhua was anxious. Call this number. Yan Zhangping handed over a business card. Yan Fangfang's. Isn't this your daughter? Suo Tunhua said, looking at the name. That's right, Yan Zhangping admitted. So, I came here to promote business for your daughter. Suo Tunhua realized. Old Suo, let me emphasize a few points. First, this thing is in short supply. Even our southwest military region hasn't been fully equipped yet. If it wasn't to preserve everyone's strength, wouldn't it be better for me to keep it for myself? Second, it's true that Fangfang manages the channel, but do you think our military region has the strength to produce this thing? Third, when your soldiers fight a battle with zombies, you'll understand what I mean. You also attended the meeting a few days ago. I can clearly tell you that without this equipment, the headquarters of our southwest military region would probably not have been able to hold on during the zombie siege that time. Alright, that's all I have to say. I'm going to the northwest military region, so I won't stay any longer. Yan Zhangping got up and was about to leave. Chapter 121 Zhongzhangyu, S installment payment. What about the ultrasonic emitter? So Tunhua asked. Contact Fangfang. We need to meet up about this as soon as possible. Our military region still has ways to cope, but there are hundreds of resettlement camps across the country. If these camps are attacked by rats, the consequences will be severe. I'll report this matter to the speaker later. See you at the council meeting. After speaking, Yan Zhangping, accompanied by Rongpo, quickly departed. He was in no mood for leisurely strolls outside now. The safety of the military region was paramount on the plane. He had already issued directives to all military sub-districts, demanding that they maintain heightened vigilance and conduct thorough investigations within the military region to eliminate any potential safety hazards. Subsequently, he called the speaker, reported the dangers of zombie rats, and suggested convening an emergency council meeting immediately afterward. He called Zhang Zhenyu and repeated the same information. Yan Zhangping arrived at the Northwest Military Region late at night. The commander of the Northwest Military Region was named Shantu's Henghao, known as the Northwest Butcher. The two ate and chatted in the office. The content was nothing more than the combat suits and the zombie rats. No one took matters related to their own safety lightly. Therefore, from early the next morning, Yan Fangfang's satellite phone began ringing non-stop. The commanders of the Southeast, Northeast, and Northwest military regions rushed to the Southwest military region early in the morning. Dongfang Chen's business in the military region could be considered fully open. Yan Zhangping had taken a plane back to the Southwest military region overnight. It was 8 a.m. and he had only just fallen asleep. Commander Zhang from the Southeast military region has arrived and is demanding to see you, the messenger reported. Tell him to find Instructor Yan. Tell him I've already given instructions. I need to rest for a while. I won't see anyone. Yan Zhangping mumbled sleepily. Yes, the messenger acknowledged the order and left. Oh, my dear niece. Long time no see, you've become even more beautiful. Zhong Zhenyu started shouting from outside before he even arrived. Commander Zhong. Yan Fangfang quickly went to greet him. She thought, you haven't even seen me yet, and you're already saying I've become more beautiful. Your flattery is too fake. Don't call me Commander Zhong, it's too formal. Call me Uncle Zhong. Zhong Zhenyu said with a smile. Commander Zhong, this is working hours. Yan Fangfang refused. It's alright, there are no outsiders here. By the way, Fangfang, I heard from old Yan yesterday that zombie rats have appeared. Is that true? Zhong Zhenyu asked quietly. That's right, Yan Fangfang replied. Do you have any of those zombie-repelling emitters in stock right now? Zhong Zhenyu continued to ask. We haven't received any shipments yet, Yan Fangfang replied. Hey, Look, can we discuss something? Zhongzhen Yu pulled Yan Fangfang to a chair, sat her down, and then offered her a cup of water obsequiously. Commander Zhuang, please speak, Yan Fangfang said, feeling a little uncomfortable. Look, that emitter is a bit expensive, 10,000 crystals per unit. I've calculated that I need at least 16 units over there, which is 160,000 crystals. You also know that our southeast military region has only just been equipped with combat suits. And we can't gather that many crystals in a short amount of time, Zhongzhen Yu said with difficulty. So, what does Uncle Zhuang mean? Yan Fangfang asked. Yan Xiangping had told her that the quoted price for the emitters was 10,000 crystals per unit, while Dongfang Chen's quoted price was 1,000 crystals per unit. The profit of 9,000 crystals per unit was simply too great, and Yan Fangfang felt a little guilty. How about this? You give me the goods on credit first, and we'll make up the crystals to you when we've gathered enough, Zhongzhen Yu said, but your payment for the combat suits from last time hasn't been settled yet, Yan Fangfang said. 200 sets of combat suits are only 32,000 crystals, that's not much, we can gather enough in a few days. Adding this times amount, it's not 192,000 crystals in total, right? Uncle Zhuang will round it up to 200,000 crystals, how about that? The extra 8,000 crystals can be considered my interest, Zhongzhen Yu calculated, but we don't have that many crystals to advance to you, Yan Fangfang said with difficulty. Her actual cost price wasn't that high. 200 sets of combat suits cost 2,000 crystals, and 16 emitters cost 16,000 crystals, totaling only 18,000 crystals. Think of a way. Zhongzhen Yu handed her the water cup again. The number of crystals in this batch is too large, so credit is definitely not possible. However, didn't we rent 20 transport planes from you a few days ago? The agreed price at the time was 50,000 crystals, so we can just make a deduction. That leaves 142,000 crystals, so let's do it in installments. Let's divide it into 10 installments, 14,200 crystals per installment. I won't charge you interest, but you have to leave 10 transport planes as collateral here. Each time an installment is cleared, I'll return one plane until the payment is cleared. How about that? Yan Fangfang said, stating her pre-planned solution. Zhongzhen Yu thought this plan was not bad. Although the total amount was not small, 14,200 crystals per installment was not much and could be settled in a few days. If he could free up some crystals in the middle to purchase a batch of combat suits, the speed of acquiring crystals would be even faster. The most important thing was that he didn't have crystals in hand now, but the soldiers couldn't wait. If they were harmed by rats one day, they would have nowhere to cry. As long as he could bring the emitters back empty-handed now, everything else would be easy to handle. Chapter 122, The Talkative SUO Assimilation. Okay, let's do it that way. Then, what do you think? Zhongzhen Yu asked. How about this? I'll round it up for you 8,000 crystal cores for 50 sets of clothes, right? How about you take another 50 sets, then it will be exactly 150,000 crystal cores, making it easier to calculate. You can take the 50 sets of clothes back with you now, and after the transmitters arrive, I'll arrange for someone to deliver them to you. How does that sound? Yan Fangfang suggested. Great. Then I must thank my dear niece. Zhongzhen Yu felt relieved of a burden and left happily. Not long after, Suo Tunhua from the northeast military region arrived. Dear niece, let uncle take a look. Have you become more beautiful? Before he even entered the room, his voice floated and Yan Fangfang held her forehead. Speechless, she felt so embarrassed, but didn't dare say anything. Commander Suo. Yan Fangfang hurriedly went forward to greet him. Call me Uncle Suo. Why, Commander? Look at this girl, being so distant, aren't you? Suo Tunhua said in a hearty voice. Commander Suo, it's working hours now. Yan Fangfang signaled him to restrain himself a little. What about working hours? Is anyone gossiping? Suo Tunhua looked around. Besides the two of them, there was no one else in the office. Uncle Suo, what brings you here today? Yan Fangfang quickly changed the subject. Dear niece, let me tell you, I'm here specifically to bring you good stuff, Suo Tunhua said loudly. Bring it in. Immediately after, two soldiers entered from outside the door, wearing noticeably thick military uniforms. The two soldiers put down two bags, gave a military salute, and turned to leave. Come, take a look, these are mink furs. Find a skilled craftsman later and make a mink coat. Let me tell you, this thing is super warm when you wear it, and this, a few old hens. Raised in the military camp, don't worry, Absolutely no problems. I originally wanted to bring you some old ginseng or something, but then I thought you're so young, you don't need that stuff. Wouldn't it all just benefit old Yan? So I didn't bring it. Suo Tunhua rummaged through the bag, taking out one item after another, chattering non-stop. Uncle Suo, how many crystal cores do you want to borrow? Yan Fangfang stood aside, speechless, and asked bluntly anyway. The first batch of combat suits was on credit, which had already become an unwritten rule. However, borrowing less was a favor, borrowing too much might lead to enmity. So Yan Fangfang was determined that no matter who came, combat suits could be borrowed. 100 or 200 sets were no problem, but any more was out of the question. Ah, haha, my dear niece is still the smartest. Come, sit. Seeing that Yan Fangfang had already gotten straight to the point, Suo Tunhua could just go along with it. Yan Fangfang was pulled down to sit again. Dear niece, do you still have those combat suits that your dad showed me? Let me tell you, that thing is simply designed specifically for our Northeast military region. You don't know, the Northeast is so cold. The soldiers are wrapped in layers and layers in the winter, greatly reducing their mobility. This kind of combat suit is thin but can keep warm. It's simply a blessing for the soldiers, Suo Tunhua said ramblingly. 200 sets, I'll give them to you on credit first. Yan Fangfang didn't waste any words and went straight to the point. Haha. That's why I say my dear niece is more generous than that old Yan. How could old Yan, being so stingy, give birth to such a beautiful, smart, and considerate daughter? Suo Tunhua said happily, chattering away. Uncle Suo, do you have anything else? Yan Fangfang was preparing to issue an eviction order. Oh, right. I heard old Yan say that you've discovered zombie rats here. Suo Tunhua quickly changed the topic and returned to the main business. Transmitters are not available on credit. Before Suo Tunhua could even get into the topic, Yan Fangfang directly blocked him. Yan Fangfang knew clearly that the Northeast military region probably couldn't even scrape together enough crystal cores for one transmitter at the moment. But even if they couldn't, she couldn't give them on credit for free. If she were to give them on credit, it would have to be like Zhongzhen Yu's side, with collateral. Hey, Fangfang, look at you, I just praised you, and in the blink of an eye, your thinking has regressed. Suo Tunhua pretended to be stern and continued, comrades should understand and help each other. Would Uncle Suo ever default on your debt? It had to be said that Suo Tunhua's face changed faster than flipping a book. If she really gave him the crystal cores on credit, she probably wouldn't see a single hair of them in the end. However, she wasn't afraid of giving combat suits on credit. You'd still have to buy them later. If you didn't settle the account by then, she wouldn't give you the goods. Would you have to obediently pay up? Uncle Suo, how many units do you need over there? Yan Fangfang didn't take his bait at all and continued to ask. 12 units, Suo Tunhua quickly replied. How about this? I'll simply give you 500 sets of combat suits on credit. 12 transmitters are 120,000 crystal cores, and 500 sets of combat suits are 80,000 crystal cores, totaling 200,000 crystal cores. Uncle Suo, am I right? Yan Fangfang said while calculating. That's right. I knew it, my dear niece is just generous. Suo Tunhua was overjoyed to hear this. Yan Fangfang quickly held out her hand to stop him and said, Uncle Suo, don't be impatient. I haven't finished speaking yet. Oh? Go on. Suo Tunhua sat back in his chair, looking at her. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123, Rat Infestation. 200,000 crystal cores require installment payments. Divided into 10 installments, 20,000 crystal cores per installment, to be paid off within 10 months. Yan Fangfang stated concisely. Suo Tunhua calculated for a moment. 500 sets of combat suits could equip 500 warriors. Wouldn't he easily earn several thousand crystal cores a day? Paying 20,000 crystal cores a month would be a piece of cake. So, he agreed. Alright. No problem, collateral is also required, Yan Fangfang emphasized. Bang! Suo Tunhua directly slapped the table. My dear niece, does Uncle Suo look like someone who defaults on debts? For such a small amount, you still want collateral? Suo Tunhua's loud voice boomed. Uncle Suo, without collateral, I can't give you the goods. Uncle Zhong from the Southeast Military Region even used 10 transport planes as collateral. Yan Fangfang said calmly and confidently, that's how business negotiations are. Regardless of who the other party is, regardless of their attitude, you must not be intimidated, and you must not violate the plan. If you show weakness or change your established plan, the mess afterward will give you an even bigger headache. Oh ho, Zhong Four Eyes used collateral? That's fine, let's do it that way. Suo Tunhua immediately grinned again. Suo Tunhua wasn't just thick-skinned, he was practically shameless in the end. Suo Tunhua happily left with 500 sets of combat suits. The launchers hadn't arrived yet, and she would only release them after the 10 transport planes arrived. Not long after, Shen Tuzhanghao from the Northwest Military Region also arrived. The result of the negotiation was the same as with Suo Tunhua. 200,000 crystal cores in installments, and he eventually left with several hundred sets of combat suits after finishing the negotiations. Yan Fangfang calculated the total. This calculation shocked her. In just one morning, the signed contracts totaled 450,000 crystal cores, with a profit of over 300,000 crystal cores after deducting costs. What a huge profit! Yan Fangfang exclaimed. This was much faster than killing zombies. No wonder her father personally went out to advertise. He had seen the profit potential that afternoon. Dongfang Chen delivered the first batch of 54 manufactured ultrasonic emitters. Yan Fangfang immediately notified the various military regions to come and pick up the goods at the same time. Yan Zhangping quickly arranged for planes to transport the equipment to the various military sub-districts under the Southwest Military Region. The installation of the ultrasonic emitter was extremely simple. Find a suitable location, dig a pit in the ground, put the device in, and bury it again. That's it. Everyone had doubts. Just this thing? No electricity, no debugging, just bury it directly. Yan Zhangping also had concerns about this, and he called Dongfang Chen on the spot. Dongfang Chen replied that the machine was fully intelligent and did not require human intervention. If he didn't believe it, he could dig it up and check if the transmitter was still there. When deceiving people, you must deceive completely. Crystal cores are not so easy to earn. Yan Zhangping immediately had the soldiers dig up the filled pit again. Sure enough, the device was gone. Of course, it was gone. The miniature queen bee disguised as a transmitter, after being buried in the soil, had already begun to extend underground. Searching for a location to produce bee ant robots, Yan Zhangping immediately dispelled his doubts. At the same time, the resettlement area where Hao Wenbin was located, the Jiangning resettlement area in Jiangning City, Suiyu Province, experienced a large-scale rat attack. As soon as the sun set, the streets and alleys of the resettlement area were filled with piles of zombie rats with blood-red eyes. In countless numbers, people were shouting and running away. Members of the security team laid firewood on both sides of the road, doused it with gasoline, hoping to block the rats' attack. In this way, those who could not escape in time were gnawed on by hundreds or thousands of rats, instantly turning into skeletons. Most of the rats were scattered and blocked outside, and people stood in the middle of different fire circles, crying and watching in despair. The rats, ignited by the fire, screamed and charged around, and people raised their feet to step on them, in a very embarrassing state. But the firewood would eventually burn out, and what would await them then? The Jiangning resettlement area had already reported this situation to the Southeast Military Region, hoping to receive support from the military. Zhong Zhangai was also covered in cold sweat after learning about this situation. How dangerous? Zhong Zhangai had mortgaged the plane in the Southwest Military Region, so as soon as the transmitter arrived, he quickly sent someone to bring it back. During the deployment process, he encountered the same doubts as Yan Zhangping. But Yan Zhangping already knew what was going on and explained it. Zhong Zhangai also verified it, and sure enough, the transmitter was gone. That meant the device was still useful. Otherwise, he would have really lost money buying it for 10,000 crystal cores. However, he was still a little worried. Coincidentally, the Jiangning resettlement area called for help at this time, and he had an idea. He had someone free up a transmitter, dispatched a plane, and sent it to the Jiangning resettlement area at full speed. When the crowd saw the helicopter arriving, they were overjoyed, and the hope in their eyes rose one after another. The streets were in a mess, with bonfires and people and rats everywhere. The plane could not land, so it could only drop a rope, and the soldiers climbed down the rope with the transmitter. After the soldiers jumped down, without saying a word, they started digging a pit on the ground. The crowd watched his actions in confusion, not knowing what he was doing. "Officer, should we dig one too?" Someone with courage stepped forward and asked. "No need," the soldier replied, his hands not stopping. Chapter 124 Zhong Zhangai Experiment. Soon, a deep pit was dug. He took out the transmitter, placed it in the pit, and then backfilled it with all the work done. The soldier didn't leave, standing quietly in the ring of fire, waiting. He had protective clothing on, so even if the rats attacked, he wouldn't be afraid. 1 minute, 2 minutes, soon, an hour passed, and the zombie rats outside showed no reaction. What's going on? Is it not working? The soldier looked at the gradually weakening fire and muttered to himself, if it didn't work, it would be troublesome. He didn't know how many people would be bitten, and the settlement would probably be ruined. 2 hours later, the flames of the fire ring died out, and the zombie rats extended into the ashes as if they didn't care about their lives. Although the fire was out, the temperature of the ashes was still very high. As the rats continued to attack, the ashes were stirred up into the sky, and the air was filled with a strange, rotten, burnt smell. People moved closer to the center, gathering together. Seeing that the rats were about to attack, everyone closed their eyes in despair, but after waiting for a long time, they didn't feel any pain. Everyone opened their eyes and saw that, centered on them, the rats were slowly disappearing one by one. The light was too dim, and they couldn't see how these rats were disappearing. The night passed, and dawn arrived. The rats on the streets had disappeared. The soldier contacted the plane via satellite phone to pick him up, and then left in a hurry. The entire street was a mess, filled with smoke. Several teams of security members shuttled through the streets and alleys, checking the survivors one by one. If anyone was bitten, they would all be taken to another newly arranged isolation settlement. Those who went there would only face death overnight. The number of deaths in the Jiangning settlement exceeded 1/3, and 2/3 of the survivors were bitten. It was a tragic scene, but there was no way around it. This was the apocalypse. This was reality. The dead were gone, and the living had to continue living. Even if someone resisted, it would ultimately be futile in the face of the general trend. The surviving people would not agree to an infected person living with them, as their safety would not be guaranteed. As for sympathy, sorry, I sympathize with you, but please leave. The departing soldier quickly returned to headquarters. How was it? Zhongzhen Yu asked anxiously when he saw the returning soldier. Reporting, Commander. It's indeed useful, but the soldier didn't know how to describe it. But what? Zhongzhen Yu frowned. But it's not quite the same as imagined, the soldier said, searching for the right words. Where is it different? Zhongzhen Yu continued to ask. How should I put it? The effect is a bit slow, the soldier replied. How slow? Zhongzhen Yu asked step by step, knowing that the soldiers generally didn't have a high level of education, so he let him slowly organize his words. Logically speaking, after the transmitter is buried in the ground, it should take effect immediately, and the zombie rats should quickly escape. But in reality, it took almost 2 hours for the rats to change, the soldier replied. Oh? Is that so? Zhongzhen Yu imagined the scene, thought for a long time, and felt that a slower effect was acceptable. Maybe there was some activation process, and it would be better after activation. Anything else? Zhongzhen Yu asked. There's also. The soldier hesitated. What is it? Zhongzhen Yu frowned. It's just that the rats didn't run away, but disappeared. The soldier said through gritted teeth. He didn't even believe what he said, but the light was too dim at the time, and he might have missed some details. Disappeared. Zhongzhen Yu was puzzled. How did they disappear? He continued to ask. They just disappeared into thin air. Commander, the light was a bit dim at the time. I did see them disappear, but as for whether there were other reasons, I don't know, the soldier said aggrievedly. Zhongzhen Yu frowned, unable to figure it out, so he let the soldier go down to rest, and he called Yan Fangfang again. After listening to Zhongzhen Yu's description, Yan Fangfang knew what was going on. Most likely, the nanobits in the transmitter needed a production process, and then the produced nanobits decomposed the rats, just like her tag. It's just that the decomposition process was too fast, and he thought they had disappeared, but since it was called an ultrasonic transmitter, she had to make things up. Uncle Zhuang, maybe it was too late and the soldier saw it wrong? The rats should have burrowed into the ground, right? How could they disappear into thin air? That's not scientific. Besides, do you care whether they disappear or run away? Isn't it good as long as it works? Yan Fangfang comforted him with a fabricated story. That's true. Zhongzhen Yu no longer struggled with it. As long as it could drive away those annoying zombie rats, that was enough. As for the principle of driving them away, he wasn't a scientist. Why waste his brain on that? Having confirmed that the ultrasonic transmitter was indeed useful, Zhongzhen Yu was relieved. However, he wasted one for the experiment, so he replenished his stock from Yan Fangfang again. March 28, 2055 AD afternoon, Kyoto, Parliament Building. Councillor Yan, Please inform everyone about the zombie rats, the speaker said. Chapter 125 Parliament procures a transmitter. Yan Zhangping briefly introduced the characteristics and dangers of zombie rats with zombies as a reference. Everyone didn't need to spend time digesting the information. Our southeast military region, Suiao Province, Jiangning City, Jiangning Resettlement Camp, just experienced a zombie rat attack yesterday. Overnight, casualties exceeded 70%. It can only be described as horrific. Zhongzhangyu confirmed the existence of zombie rats. It's worth noting that zombie rats are probably just the beginning. Other animal zombies may appear in the future, and we must take it seriously. Yan Zhangping said. The crowd began to whisper among themselves. The speaker banged the gavel. Alright, Counselor Yan, tell us about your solution, the speaker said. It's still the person who gave us the information last time. He provided a type of ultrasonic transmitter. The ultrasonic waves emitted by this transmitter can effectively drive away animal zombies, including rats and other zombies. We have already purchased a batch and deployed them in various military districts, Yan Zhangping replied. Counselor Yan, what is the identity of this mysterious person? Do you know? He Jinghu, the director of the security department, asked. I'm sorry, he always notifies the location temporarily for each transaction. We have investigated for a long time, but we haven't found any clues, Yan Zhangping replied. He Jinghu didn't say anything more. If Yan Zhangping couldn't find anything, neither could his security department. Pressing further would just be admitting his own incompetence. It seems that besides the military, there are other forces within Huaxia that possess their own satellites, and they may have more advanced technology than us, He Jinghu said nonchalantly. Alright, let's not discuss the mysterious person for now. Let's discuss how to deal with the zombie rats, the speaker said. Counselor Yan, are you sure that this ultrasonic transmitter is really useful? Jing Cheng, the director of the cultural department, asked. It is indeed useful. We have already tested it on site at the Jiangning resettlement camp, Zhongzhangyu directly answered on behalf of Yan Zhangping. Jing Cheng frowned and nodded, saying nothing more. I want to know, what did you use to trade for this equipment? What was the price? Hu Kengying, the director of the health department, asked. Crystals, 10,000 crystals per unit, Yan Zhangping replied. There was another commotion in the room. Bang, bang, bang. The speaker signaled everyone to be quiet. That's too expensive. 10,000 crystals, who can afford that? Yu Ming, the director of the public security department, said they weren't newbies and knew that a zombie only produced one crystal. 10,000 crystals required killing at least 10,000 zombies, which was simply a fantasy. Counselor Yan, how did you obtain so many crystals? Liu Fiaying, the director of the military affairs department, asked. We have combat suits, which I will introduce to you later. As long as you wear the combat suit, you can avoid being scratched or bitten by zombies, and with heavy firepower, killing zombies is not a problem, Yan Zhangping explained. Then thank you, Counselor Yan, Liu Fiai nodded. Your military has equipment, heavy firepower, and the conditions to obtain crystals. But currently, almost no resettlement camps nationwide have such conditions. You need to know that once zombie rats break out, the most severe damage will be to the various resettlement camps, Hu Kengying, the director of the health department, said. In other words, the military could afford it, but civilians couldn't. Of course, this is also the purpose of my proposal to convene this meeting. Whether out of consideration for the safety of the people, or out of the most basic ethics and morality, we cannot encourage or indirectly encourage the people to hunt zombies for crystals without protection. But the danger of zombie rats is imminent, and the Jiangning resettlement camp is a clear example. We must install this ultrasonic transmitter in every resettlement camp as soon as possible to protect the safety of the people, Yan Zhangping said righteously. That's what you say, but where will the crystals come from? Yu Ming, the director of the public security department, asked. He knew how difficult it was to kill 10,000 zombies. I and several military region commanders have discussed this matter privately. It is impossible for each resettlement camp to collect the crystals, so it can only be provided by our parliament, Yan Zhangping said. Alright, I won't beat around the bush. Currently, only the military has this ability, so I propose that the crystals be jointly borne by our 5 military regions. Shen Tuzhanghao of the Northwest Military Region said everyone thought so, but everyone was afraid of being the first to speak up. But Shen Tuzhanghao was not afraid. I agree, Suo Tunhua stated. Everyone agrees, so I have no opinion, Zhongzhangyu said. I naturally have no objection, Yan Zhangping also replied. Since everyone agrees, then it's settled. The speaker said subsequently, after a series of consultations, it was finally agreed that 600 transmitters, totaling 6 million crystals, would be distributed with a Southeast Military Region, Northeast Military Region, Southwest Military Region, and Northwest Military Region, each bearing 1.3 million, and the Central Military Region bearing the remaining 800,000. At the same time, in order to alleviate the pressure on the Central Military Region, Yan Zhangping also provided an additional 500 sets of combat suit equipment support. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.